Alright, you and I are about to dive into the craziest prodigy story of the last 300 years. When little Dale was born, no tears, until his mom literally pushed with every ounce of her strength. By age 8, he wasn't just a genius, he was way beyond that. Firing off multiple elemental spells in combat was basically as natural as breathing. His potential was so completely off the charts that at just 10 years old, his dad tossed him right onto the front lines of a massive kingdom war. With his insane power, enemies got crushed like literal bugs. The guy was an absolute terror. Then, a noble girl named Charlotte Orlhart got dragged over to House Saxon. Led by Duke Alan Saxon, the ultimate necromancer, dark mage, and straight-up boss of the Black Tower. Showing up at that castle to beg for shelter as a lowly servant. A massive, soul-crushing humiliation for a girl with fierce warrior noble blood. She absolutely refused to bow down to a kid his age. Furious and seeing red, she challenged him to a duel to prove her sword skills were totally superior. She carried the heavy legacy of the divine blade, so she tried absolutely everything. But even with Dale just casually using a regular sword, she totally failed to beat him, and she was even blasting aura. Taking her very first loss, the girl completely broke down crying. Having zero clue how she'd ever avenge her fallen family now. But then, Dale drops some brutal truth. You lack power, sure, but your talent is actually the real deal, if you swear loyalty. I promise to make you insanely strong and back your revenge against whoever wrecked your kingdom. Will she take the deal? And can Dale actually deliver? Let's rewind a bit to where this madness started. Our main character, Han Sung, tells his buddy to get up so they can keep pushing ahead. The soldier nods and struggles to his feet while Han Sung totally locks and loads his weapon. In this reality, humanity has been battling monsters for decades. After endless, brutal bloodbaths, only a few humans are even left standing. Han Sung's ultimate goal is finally in sight, until a glowing magic circle drops right under his boots. Now pay attention here, this is where everything flips. His eyes go wide in shock. Before he can even react, the circle violently drags him down and he completely vanishes. While his body gets twisted through space, a loud voice orders him to answer the call. Suddenly, golden threads wrap tight right around his neck. When his vision clears up, he's trapped in some creepy unknown room, surrounded by silent dudes in heavy hoods just staring at him. Glancing down at his arms, he sees these glowing magic cuffs he's never encountered before. An old guy steps up, drops his hood, and formally welcomes the new hero, totally brushing off the kidnapping vibe. The old man casually drops the bomb. They need him to slay the Demon King and save their world. Completely panicking, Han Sung demands to know where the heck he is, screaming that he belongs in a Korean war zone. Just to shut him up, the old guy blasts a spell at him. He screams out in absolute, mind-melting agony. The man coldly explains the binding oath is active, stay perfectly calm, and the magic stops hurting. With tears streaming down his face and his body feeling like it's on fire, Han Sung realizes he's totally out of options. The bald geezer grabs a sword and repeats his demand, defeat the Demon King, and save our precious empire. He tosses the heavy blade right at Han Sung, adding a sweet promise, win this war and you get a one-way ticket back home. All those hooded creeps just stare with glowing eyes, waiting for his move. Han Sung totally calculates his odds. And figures playing along is his only survival strategy. That's exactly how Han Sung got ripped into a fantasy world, forced to become the grand hero of some random empire. The guy grinds constantly, carrying crazy burdens and running endless deadly expeditions, just slicing through enemy after enemy. 3 years bleed into 5, then a full decade. He sacrificed his entire youth chasing down one single goal, slaying the Demon King of Valor. But get this, after beating the final boss, that same bald guy drops a brand new mission on him. Han Sung is absolutely furious. This wasn't the deal. The old man just smirks, claiming the empire isn't safe just because the Demon King is dead. There are still rebels fighting the unification. And every single one needs to be wiped out. He points to a wanted poster on the wall. It's Bottle, some guy from the Night Kingdom of Teutonia, marked for death. Flashing a super sarcastic smile, the old guy asks him for just one last favor. But a dog with a shock collar can't exactly say no. Han Sung drags himself into yet another fight, wondering if this nightmare will ever actually end. After trading a few intense blows, he finally lands a brutal sword strike right on Bottle. Coughing up blood, The guy looks up and calls him an absolute fool. Han Sung mutters that he didn't have a choice, staring down and apologizing for the fatal hit. You and I both saw this twist coming, right? Bottle tells him to save the apology because Han Sung is about to be tossed in the trash too. With the mission done, he thinks he's finally going home. But suddenly, those golden threads violently yank his neck. A bearded knight casually walks up, congratulating our hero while ripping the threads and plunging a sword straight through his gut. It's Count Brandenburg. The Count coldly mocks him, saying he was a fantastic hunting dog for the Empire. As Grand General, he truly appreciates all the hard work. That's when reality hits him like a truck. They never planned to send him back to Earth, slicing into him again. The Count laughs that all this plotting wasn't even necessary, since a mutt only knows how to bite. Han Sung drops to the dirt, completely out cold, as Brandenburg waves goodbye. Fading into the darkness, Han Sung realizes he should have expected this betrayal. His very last thought is a blood oath. He swears he'll never forget this ultimate humiliation, and he will absolutely burn this empire to the ground. Later that night, as one broken life slips away, a completely new one opens its eyes. A fancy duchess leans over her newborn baby, but inside, the baby's brain is racing. He's never seen this gorgeous woman in his life. Pushing through the brain fog, his memories crash back. The guy standing next to her, the continent's most legendary dark mage and necromancer, Duke Saxon himself. Which means he's inside the Empire's forbidden magic hub, Necropolis, home of the Black Tower, right before dying. He secretly stashed a resurrection stone. His reborn body was totally random, but he hit the jackpot. Trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. Alright, stick with me, we're diving into the ultimate reincarnation glow-up. Reborn as the firstborn son of Duke Saxon, a massive big-shot noble. This guy spawned with a platinum spoon. His new mission, grow up, master necromancy, and absolutely destroy the guys who betrayed him. But Duke Saxon looks worried. His newborn son isn't crying at all. A nurse steps up, saying the kid is fine, just chilling. Obviously, Han Sung is a full-grown man mentally. He is absolutely not gonna bawl like a literal infant. She checks him out and confirms his breathing is super steady. Nothing wrong here. Still, the Duke is stressing out. Could a totally silent newborn be some cursed bad omen? The nurse says the best fix is a good old-fashioned smack on the butt. Han Sung is instantly furious and super embarrassed, but even after the spanking, zero tears. Watch closely, we both know he's just being stubborn. His parents assume he inherited Saxon's tough genes. Smiling gracefully, his mom asks to hold him. Han Sung totally braces himself for another humiliating smack. But nope, instead of hitting him, she just starts gently rubbing his head. The second her warm, soft hand touches his skin, something deep inside him flips. Han Sung tries to remember the last time he actually felt something like this. Not agony, not bloody battle scars, just pure love and tenderness. His mom's touch gave off a vibe he hadn't felt in decades. Right then, the tough guy totally broke. He bawled his eyes out, exactly like a real baby should. Boom, next scene. The noble couple rolls out of bed, and Saxon mentions how crazy fast time flies. 8 years since Dale was born. His mom jokes that he's still buried in books, just like when he was 4. Trust me, you'll want to see where this leads. Alright, stick with me here. The Duke's smiling, totally stoked his kid is into magic, but his blonde wife quickly shifts the entire mood. She grabs her husband's face, making sure he remembers his big promise, absolutely no teaching necromancy to their son. Saxon confirms it, and she finally lets out a massive sigh of relief. He tells her they should just focus on picking out the kid's birthday present for tomorrow. Suddenly, a huge crash completely interrupts them. A panicked maid bursts right into the room screaming for the master. Little Dale is in the study. The parents sprint over and find their boy on the floor, a crazy magic circle glowing straight from a book. His mom rushes up, terrified he's hurt, but Dale swears he's completely fine. Now pay attention to this. Saxon focuses, feels the insane mana in the air, and realizes his 8-year-old son just released mana inside his own body. Dale starts panicking, scrambling for an excuse so they don't get suspicious. But the Duke, he just looks ridiculously proud. Ruffling the boy's hair, he says this is exactly what he expected from his son. His only regret, not being able to teach him necromancy. His mom steps in. With a sweet smile, she tells Dale to head back to his room while servants clean the mess. As he leaves, Alan calls his wife's name. He just got a brilliant present idea. Fast forward a bit. Dale's birthday banquet is absolutely packed with nobles from the Black Duke's territory, all super hyped to see the birthday boy. But away from the party, our boy is zoning out. And honestly, you and I can both relate, knowing all those fancy people are there just for you sounds totally exhausting. Alright, stick with me here. After a lifetime of straight-up indifference, getting spoiled like this feels totally bizarre. Plus, he is still stressing over that mana accident from a few days ago. His leftover hero mana went totally haywire. But honestly, there is zero denying that this new body of his is absolutely cracked at necromancy. The big brain move, convincing his dad to teach him. Dale figures he might as well ask for dark magic lessons as his birthday gift instead of some boring toy. Then his mom shows up, looking absolutely stunning, apologizing for the wait, and bringing a mysterious hooded figure along. Dale spots the weird vibe immediately and asks who she is. Boom, it is Lady Sephia, an elf elder and absolute master of water magic. Alina drops the news, she's Dale's new teacher. Yup, his parents literally gifted him a legendary master for his birthday. Here is where it gets interesting, pay attention. His mom wants him stuck on safe, defensive water magic. Touching dark magic is basically out of the question. Smiling warmly, Lady Sephia pulls Dale aside for a private chat. Once they're alone, she admits his parents strictly ordered her to only teach him water magic. But she totally knows he is itching for the dark stuff. Obviously, the Black Duke's kid wants to learn necromancy, but there is a massive catch the whole empire knows about. Back in the day, Alina was terrified of Alan's dark reputation. To win her heart, he swore he would never pass his shadowy legacy down to their kids. At their wedding, the Black Tower elders literally wore white instead of black. Their marriage runs on that oath, so changing Lady Alina's mind, yeah, good luck with that. Sephia smiles, asking if he's in. And I know what you're thinking, Dale asks the obvious question, aren't nature-loving elves supposed to completely hate dark magic? She actually cracks up. Sephia points out that holy priests literally resurrect the dead all the time, which totally goes against the rules of nature too. To her, necromancy is basically the exact same deal. Dale realizes this lady is no ordinary elf. Honestly, she might just be the perfect teacher for him. Hyped to start, she brings up that tiny fragment of a mana circle he accidentally managed to form just a couple of days ago. Goal number 1, expand that fragment into a complete circle, the literal foundation of all magic. She tells Dale to place a hand over his heart and seriously focus. This mana-filled world is a whole new ballgame. Unless you are some ancient, overpowered dragon, trying to handle raw mana is pretty much a guaranteed death sentence. To filter that crazy energy safely, you need a mana circle spinning around your heart. Dale starts visualizing the mana flowing straight into his chest, following Sephia's exact instructions. She warns him to take it slow. Normally, this takes a month, so zero rush, but Dale casually opens his hand, showing off glowing energy. He asks if he did it. Sephia totally freezes. A kid doing this so fast? Insane. Sephia asks him to release power. Trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next, in his past life. Stick with me on this one. His old body needed magic tattoos to fight, but this new vessel, it drinks mana naturally. Alright, you and I are about to watch an 8-year-old completely break the rules of magic. As his focus sharpens, a glowing magic circle forms, condensing into a deadly water projectile. His teacher Sephia, absolutely stunned. Normally, a spell's shape just falls apart when a kid tries releasing that much mana, but Dale casually aims the blast right at a tree and fires. Boom, the trunk completely shatters. That strike was so incredibly precise and powerful it sliced clean through solid wood. An 8-year-old pulling off that kind of accuracy, impossible. Sephia's eyes go wide, staring at her student. Dale just waves with this huge, innocent smile, and she seriously cannot hide her absolute shock. What kind of monster kid is this? She just keeps staring at the splintered tree, her brain completely short-circuiting, trying to process what just happened. Sure, it was a beginner-level spell, but the absolute perfection he used to cast it was next-level insane. Dale immediately looks panicked, totally acting like he messed up. Sephia forces a calm smile to chill him out, but inside her head, she's freaking out over what she just saw him do. Rotation, acceleration, and compression. The absolute gold standard trinity of high-tier magic casting. A tiny kid nailing all three with flawless precision, Yeah, this boy is built different. Safia quickly brushes it off out loud, telling him not to worry about it at all. But secretly, she finally realizes why the Black Archmage had so many regrets. Cut to later, Safia sits down for a serious meeting with his parents. Duke Saxon is clearly frustrated, demanding to know why she refuses to keep teaching his son. The elf keeps her cool, explaining that the exact moment Dale hit the first magic circle, he literally fired off a flawless attack spell. Kids his age just don't do that. It had all 3 advanced formulas packed in. His raw talent is absolutely off the charts. The Duke frowns hard. Even as a blue magic tower elder, she really can't handle him. Safia takes a slow sip of tea. Nope, that is completely missing the point. Honestly, seeing that op display only made her want to train him more. Confused, Alan asks why she's backing out. Safia drops the truth bombs. Now here is the part you and I need to watch carefully. Dale actively wants to master the Black Archmage's dark necromancy. She knows about the Forbidden Book and the Duke's promise. But nobody has the right to cap the potential of a genius like Dale. Meanwhile, right outside the door, our sneaky MC is eavesdropping on this entire intense conversation. He misses some details, but he absolutely knows they're talking about him. He seriously never thought a basic spell would rattle Safia this badly. The takeaway: he has to hide his true power from now on. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out, totally snapping his focus. A huge grin hits Dale's face before he even turns. It's Uncle Helmet. The guy asks what his nephew is doing sneaking around. Dale completely dodges the question, asking how he's been. Helmet laughs, scooping him into a massive hug, bragging about his night duties and crushing nasty monsters all over the territory. Dale excitedly asks if he raided the dungeons, but his big smile totally fails to hide the real worry in his eyes. See, in this universe, dungeons and rogue monsters are a massive nightmare. Ever since the Demon King's era, the devastation has been unreal. Now, it's up to knights to clear the mess he left behind. But the Saxon family territory, it's taking the absolute worst damage by far, all because of Dale himself. You and I both know the hero's reward is usually a scam, right? In his past life, Dale killed the Demon King. The reward: his family got lands totally infested with monsters they now must clear. Dale practically begs his uncle to stay safe out there. The Duke suddenly steps in, cutting them off and praising Helmet for going totally above and beyond on this last mission. Then Alina drops in, surprised to see the whole crew gathered. Spotting Dale, she beams with pride and hypes him up. She's absolutely thrilled her boy unlocked his first magic circle. His dad jumps in too, telling the kid to name literally any birthday gift he wants, and it's his. Dale strokes his chin. Asking for dark magic books is a huge red flag. So, what does a normal kid want? Boom, he randomly yells out that he wants a cute little sister. His parents instantly freeze like statues. Helmet is fighting for his life, trying not to laugh, while a soldier totally whispers that the boss needs to chill in this awkward moment. The Duke, with his face still completely paralyzed in shock, just awkwardly mumbles that he'll try. Fast forward to bedtime. Dale realizes he seriously needs to keep up the innocent kid act. His body is completely drained, definitely the backlash from flexing that advanced magic earlier today. He passes out fast, but the nightmares hit instantly. Count Brandenburg shows up. The guy drops a super cold greeting, acting like they're old friends reuniting after a long break. Then he violently yanks Dale by the hair. He starts taunting him, saying humans get soft so fast. Now that Dale has a cozy life, rich parents, and endless food. He claims Dale should just forget about revenge. And worse, he promises the Empire will hunt him down and erase him completely. Dale jolts awake in a cold sweat. His chest is absolutely burning. His heart is hammering so fast it might literally explode. Mana reflux. He knows exactly what this deadly symptom is. Clutching his chest in agony, pure rage towards the Empire boils up inside him. Those twisted imperialists, they're never going to stop hunting him down. He stumbles outside hoping some fresh air will fix it, but every single step just multiplies the pain. Luckily, Safia spots him and instantly knows exactly what is going down. She clocks the mana reflux immediately, a totally normal side effect for an overpowered genius kid. She quickly presses her hand to his chest to stabilize his core. While clearing the blockage, a terrifying thought hits her. If this boy turns evil, he could become an unstoppable disaster. Just like that, the crazy pain completely vanishes. Safia locks eyes with him. She explains that magic literally mirrors the soul. Spells change based on the user, and Dale's way too gifted to figure this out alone. She decides she's the only teacher who can keep him on track. Then, out of nowhere, she hands him a forbidden necromancy book. Smiling warmly, she says fate definitely brought them together, and wishes him a very happy birthday. Dale is so hyped he goes in for a massive, full-force hug. Fast forward a few days. The dynamic duo is out in the freezing northern plains, staring down a wild rabbit. Sephia tells him to picture hunting with his dad. Dale instantly charges up his mana. The poor bunny senses danger, but it's too late. A glowing magic circle is already spinning right in the kid's palm. So what do you and I make of this? The blast hits with a brutal crack. Sephia watches his fingers totally steady, zero hesitation, even after taking a life. Absolutely wild. Alright, grab a snack and stick with me, because we're diving into some crazy magic lore. The teacher asks him why spells change forms, but just drops the answer herself. Magic basically mirrors your soul. Those floating mana particles, they just bring your thoughts to life. Even naming a spell firewall is just a trick to help you picture it. Dale listens closely, looking a bit stressed out. Sephia keeps going. The red tower loves raw power, while the blue tower prefers harmony. Every spell from those towers matches their specific mindset. Their whole magic system is totally built on those core beliefs. She carefully watches his reactions while dropping this knowledge. Our guy is super dialed in, soaking up all the details. Still, she totally knows it is way too much for a kid to grasp. Time for the actual practice. The absolute most basic necromancy move is straight-up zombification. Suddenly, that dead rabbit gets completely covered in wild purple energy. This magic uses mana to literally jump-start the corpse. The caster controls it using invisible mana strings attached to the head, spine, and knees, basically like a super creepy puppet. The kid is totally nailing it. Sephia gives him the green light for the next phase. Dale locks in, instantly whipping up a solid suit of ice armor. Slapping his hand on the ground, a massive frost wave explodes outward, freezing the whole zone. The zombie bunny stands up, fully armored. Sephia immediately tells him to test its defense. Dale snaps his eyes open, bracing for her hit. Sephia fires off her spell. The poor rabbit goes flying straight up, but get this, the ice armor actually holds together. Dale practically screams with hype that he actually blocked her attack. Smiling, Sephia totally praises her star pupil's epic defense. She quickly notices he is holding back a question and asks what is up. Hand over his heart, Dale looks her dead in the eye and asks for lessons in basic water magic too. Sephia gives a polite little smile, but instantly shuts him down with a hard no. She points out that today's ice trick was actually basic water magic already. She adds that this element needs some crazy high-level dimensional awareness. It is super complex. Plus, just casting normal spells is totally exhausting enough for any rookie mage. Trying to become a dual mage at his age is basically impossible. Smiling gently, she suggests he might be biting off way more than he can chew. Dale stares in shock. Even after flexing his skills, she still refuses to believe he can pull it off. Looking down, he mutters that they really need to figure out how to level up together. Sephia tries to justify her choice, but ultimately just wraps up the lesson. Later that night, Dale sneaks into the office, grabs a ton of books, and grinds solo. He figures if he proves his insane potential, she will literally have to train him. The night flashes by. Next morning, our guy rolls up looking like a complete zombie with huge dark circles. Sephia immediately tells him to chill out and not burn himself out. He nods, but instantly fires up a glowing purple magic circle in his hand. Boom! In seconds, he revives another rabbit completely decked out in frost armor. Sephia realizes he actually mastered both skills. But watch closely, because here's the wild part. The armor violently cracks and explodes. The teacher just stands there completely stunned. But wait, the zombie bunny is still intact. The magic totally held up. Suddenly, its belly starts swelling up massive, glowing with a crazy purple sphere from inside. The tiny body shakes violently like something insane is brewing inside. Boom! It blasts into pieces, launching razor-sharp ice shards straight into the magic shield she barely threw up in time. Sephia just stares at her student, completely speechless. Dale stays chill and explains, it's a hybrid combo of corpse explosion and ice explosion. A straight-up fusion of dark and water magic. Then he looks his teacher right in the eyes and asks if that finally makes him a legit dual mage. The whole training yard is totally wrecked with blast fragments. Sephia just stands there with her jaw dropped. She has literally never witnessed an attack that crazy before. Mixing the frost armor with a corpse blast created a damage radius way bigger than using just one skill. Plus, those flying ice and bone chunks acted like deadly throwing knives. You're probably thinking, how does a kid know this? Sephia is wondering the exact same thing. That lethal combo feels like pure battlefield survival instincts inside this little boy's head. Dale watches her closely, trying to figure out what she is thinking. Right on cue, his Uncle Helmet rides up on horseback, waving casually at the two of them. He mentions the dungeon only had a tiny mob of monsters this time around. Honestly, it was barely even a warm-up for his elite Black Cavalry squad. The Black Cavalry is House Saxton's absolute heavy-hitter unit. They totally crush the battlefield using aura-coated lances, all led by the legendary Sir Helmet himself. This guy is recognized as one of the continent's elite 7 swords. Dale grins and teases his uncle, asking if he completely forgot his promise to train him up. Uncle Helmet just laughs, saying the kid can swing by any time, but he warns him about the freezing weather and tells him to hurry back home before catching a cold. Sephia agrees, and they officially call it a day. Later that night, the elven teacher sips tea with Alina and the Duke, dropping the massive news that young Master Dale actually mastered First Circle necromancy and water magic. The Duke is completely floored. That was definitely not the deal. She was literally only hired to teach the water element. Sephia totally owns it but refuses to back down. As an educator, she simply taught what the kid desperately wanted. Water magic definitely was not his only big goal here. Alina totally gets where her son is coming from, but kindly asks the elf to stick to water magic. Sephia agrees, hoping they can all just stay on good terms moving forward. Right before dipping out, she pauses at the door. Looking back, she sincerely apologizes to Alina for making her break her strict oath with the Black Duke. Alina just smiles, admitting she knows her son is anything but normal. Flexing as a dual mage at literally 8 years old is just absolutely unheard of. The Duke's face completely changes. Looking down, he mutters softly. As a powerful lord, he honestly wanted to teach his own kid the dark arts of necromancy himself. That way, the boy could easily handle all his heavy air duties. Plus, as a master mage, he really wanted a crazy strong disciple of his own. And as a dad, he just wants to pass his legacy down. Alan begs his wife for forgiveness, and Alina hugs him tight, reminding him that necromancy is basically a massive taboo. People see it as pure evil death magic, which is exactly why she tried to block it. But now, she tells her husband to train him until he is powerful enough to shut up all the haters. The parents share a super sweet moment, and the heavy tension finally vanishes, flashing a huge smile. The Duke bets everything on his son. And trust me, you and I are about to see this kid's first official day of epic necromancy training totally pop off. Alright, stick with me here, you and I are diving into a wild magic lesson. Duke Alan is super disappointed, scolding Dale for reanimating stuff cluelessly. The kid stays dead silent. But internally, he is rolling his eyes. His teacher totally taught him that way, so what else was he supposed to do? Down in the castle basement, right inside the Black Duke's creepy magic workshop, Alan lays down the law. No more weak necromancy under his watch. Boot camp starts with hardcore anatomy. Dale is buried under huge piles of dusty books, forced to memorize every single bone and muscle. Days go by. And it hits him. In his past life, this kind of insane medical knowledge was strictly for elite doctors. Once his brain is totally packed, the Duke announces the real training begins. Dale literally gasps. Dropped right on the table, a dead goblin. Seeing his shock, Alan smirks and drops a massive truth bomb. A legit sorcerer can turn basic grunts into absolute nightmare death knights. So, how will his kid handle this? Dale reaches out, sweating bullets. Moving a creature with 2 legs is way harder than a rabbit. He has to wire up so many crazy mana threads. He struggles big time just twitching the goblin's hand. It feels exactly like trying to pull strings on a busted, super heavy puppet. Making it worse, he cranked up rigor mortis for extra defense, leaving the monster totally frozen. He is completely stuck. That is when his dad gently grabs his shoulder. His dad admits the defense boost was actually smart, but it totally wrecks mobility. Now pay close attention here, because you and I are about to see a masterclass. Insane purple energy blasts from the Duke. Boom, The goblin snaps upright, moving with terrifying, flawless precision. Then the craziest thing happens to its ribs. That bone cage, meant for protecting organs, suddenly morphs into something totally different. Dead guys do not need protection, right? Every single bone just becomes an absolute weapon. Alan casually explains that knowing the anatomy lets you twist it however you want. Dale is just amazed. The spell ends, proving this is the absolute core of dark magic. Dale quickly asks his dad to break down the Black Tower's whole philosophy. Seeing his kid actually hyped makes Alan smile big time. Raising a hand, he drops some deep lore. Truth lives inside death. Necromancers have to master it entirely to finally understand the actual heavy weight of life. Those words seriously shake Dale up. Flashbacks hit him hard, his past life as a knight, basically ending way too many lives. He remembers his bloody sword, swinging without stopping to rack up a massive body count. Pure pain in every strike, he totally zones out. His dad checks if he is okay. Dale goes totally pale. That dark memory of a soldier sheathing a bloody weapon just will not fade. Still, he plays it cool. As Dale's magic skills leveled up, wild rumors started flooding the Empire. Word on the street. Duke Saxon was teaching his kid forbidden dark arts. Their broken pact just fueled the fire, absolutely shaking the noble society. Everyone was watching him like a hawk after that. But Dale kept grinding. He trained his sword skills constantly with his totally awesome Uncle Helmet. His uncle held nothing back, and Dale clashed with him blow for blow. Helmet was smiling the whole time, loving it. Every single clash boosted the kid's reflexes. Out of nowhere, Helmet swings hard, aiming a super serious strike. Dale dodges by a hair and counters instantly. His aim is so ridiculously clean, he actually knocks the blade right out of Helmet's grip. The sword flips and stabs right into the dirt. Helmet cracks up, completely blown away, calling the kid's counterattack absolutely epic. I know what you are thinking, but Dale insists his uncle went easy. A pro knight never drops his weapon. But Helmet explains he used real combat fencing, and normally, a regular guy would be totally dead from that hit. He admits the kid is so insanely talented, it is almost a bummer he chose the magic route. Even so, mages usually hide behind heavy guards and shield spells. He tells Dale to chill out, and not overwork himself like crazy. Going too hard causes injuries. Dale replies that he has a very good reason for training this fiercely. Relying purely on guards and shields as the Duke's son, super lame. Helmet's face literally glows hearing that. He pats the kid, calling it an awesome answer and wishing he had a son like him. The fun gets paused when Alina shows up. She strolls over, joking that these two guys looked like they were having a total blast. She came to check on her son's training, but guess what? She brought some absolutely massive news too. She asks if Dale remembers that one birthday wish he made. The kid frowns, thinking hard until boom, it clicks. He totally asked for a baby sister. Dale's eyes go huge. Alina gently touches her belly, telling him he needs to take great care of his new little sister. With stars in his eyes, he promises he absolutely will. Flash forward 10 months, and the whole family is hanging out with their newest member. Dale softly pokes the baby's squishy cheeks, totally amazed that she is really his sister. Alina smiles and offers him a turn holding her, promising it is super easy. Scooping her up, he stares intensely, checking out every single tiny detail of her adorable face like a hawk. Alina laughs, saying the baby cried up a storm for her dad, but is totally relaxed with her big brother. Then someone asks Dale how she feels. He says she is physically light, but somehow feels incredibly heavy. The Duke closes his eyes, smiling warmly. He declares that is the true weight of life. Leaning down, he locks eyes with his son, telling him to never forget that feeling. Alina chimes in, reminding them Lady Sephia is already waiting. Sephia announces today is all about practical combat. Dale gets hyped, and trust me, you're going to want to see this, because she tells him to go all out. A glowing magic circle forms in his palm. The elf smiles, super curious to see how much her student has really grown. Dale creates an ice projectile and launches it at his teacher, but for a starting attack, the movement was honestly just too slow. Stick with me here, we are about to watch an epic training session. Sephia blocks everything with a sarcastic smirk, asking why her student is holding back. Dale just glares. She counterattacks, demanding a barrier. The kid's eyes shoot wide open. No time to dodge, boom, the strike slams right into his arm. Thanks to his crazy speed, he whips up an ice armor right at impact, saving himself from getting wrecked. The ice immediately shatters, but his master watches, totally impressed by the move. She orders him to go again. Dale starts hacking the ice wall formula, building a massive crystalline barrier all around him. Sephia is absolutely shocked by how huge it is. He actually reinforced the ice bonds, making it incredibly dense and tough as steel. She steps up, touching the frozen wall, and asks why he used this massive defense right now. Did the kid just need a breather to heal? Suddenly, a crazy sound echoes from the ice. It sounds exactly like a massive ticking glacial bomb. Inside, Dale is locked in. Without missing a beat, he triggers the detonation. A blinding light instantly charges up inside the crystal structure. Sephia's eyes bulge. Before she can even blink, razor-sharp ice shards form and blast right at her in one absolutely devastating attack. The barrier completely shatters, and Dale knows he nailed it. This was an insane combo technique, a super reinforced ice shield packed with an explosive punch. Basically, a giant magical grenade. Watch closely, you are going to love this. He thinks she is done for, but then he freezes. Sephia is standing right there, completely riddled with holes. Dale just freezes, processing the horror. But wait, the real Sephia is standing right behind her without a scratch. He just blasted a fake. With a quick snap, she poofs the illusion away and smiles, admitting that his explosive move was actually incredible. She honestly never expected that kind of firepower from a first circle mage. If she hadn't been careful, that totally would have messed her up. Dale drops his head, swearing he did not mean to hurt her. Sephia just laughs it off. She knows, and honestly, she is insanely proud. Getting down to his level, she looks him dead in the eye. Going all out means he fully trusts her, and as his teacher, that makes her the happiest master alive. She also hypes up how crazy it is that he built such a broken formula. Dale humbly replies that he owes all his insane skills to her. Sephia smiles, watching her pupil level up right before her eyes. Fast forward a bit, and she is chatting with Duke Allen inside a room. The Duke asks what is wrong with her jaw. She brushes it off as a sparring scratch. Allen chuckles, joking that his kids are always a total headache for her. But the elf is having none of it. Teaching Dale is zero trouble. Honestly, watching him grow is the best part of her job. Getting serious, Allen drops a massive bomb. He has a huge favor to ask. An entire orc horde just breached the mountain and invaded their lands. A basic cavalry squad will not cut it. Sephia instantly connects the dots, and a cold chill hits her. Freaking out, she asks if they are really sending Dale to war. Allen shuts that down fast. The kid is not ready, and no dad wants his son on the front lines. But duty calls. The Saxon family protects this turf, and Dale is the heir. Sephia knows her student is built different, but this is heavy. What does she suggest? Allen thinks it is time to hand his boy a family artifact, just something cool to help him keep his crazy powers in check. But these relics pack insane magical juice, and demand absolute god-tier talent to use. You fuel them with mana, or literally trade your life force. And the stronger the gear, the wilder it is to control. One slip-up could end you completely. The Saxons have hoarded this kind of cursed loot for centuries, keeping a massive secret stash locked up safely. I know what you're thinking. Battle time. Oh yeah, Dale is totally shocked he is finally joining the real fight. His dad says he is officially tagging along to wipe out the incoming orcs. But first things first, they pull up to this insanely massive, heavy vault door. Dale has to master his family's shadow abilities right now. He steps inside, and his jaw hits the floor. The place is completely gigantic. Stuffed with relics from the literal Demon King, his ancestors hoarded this stuff for generations. Seriously, this is not your everyday magical thrift shop. Every piece leaks overwhelming, ridiculous energy. His dad warns him straight up, the higher the power level, the more deadly the weapon gets. Do not touch a single thing unless you can handle it. The adults turn around to keep lecturing, only to realize the kid is completely gone. Dale is already sprinting through the loot pile, totally ignoring them. Cruising past the dark gear, he knows he needs to find a weapon with the perfect vibe. Suddenly, a creepy voice leaks from a shield, begging to help him get revenge. It literally feeds on the dark rage bubbling inside his soul. Then everything else starts whispering. The dark magic items are all screaming at him. Dale grabs his chest. These cursed things are reacting to his hidden trauma. But honestly, none of them feel right. He needs something way more broken. That is when, walking deeper into the creepy vault room, he stumbles on a crazy-looking cloak that definitely was not there a second ago. Staring at it, it clicks. This is the legendary Shadow Cloak. Top-tier gear used by Duke Berta, the demon army captain. In his past life as a hero, our boy actually fought the guy who wore this. It literally lets you become one with the shadows, basically an absolute cheat code for dodging. Dale instantly tries it on. Right then, his dad and Sephia come running down the hall, yelling for him, but too late. The cloak fully swallows him up, turning him invisible. Dale gets yanked straight into the item's bizarre pocket dimension. A demonic voice just keeps chanting that it is starving. This is no basic shadow. The old owners could control shadows like living, breathing attack dogs. But only if they conquered the shadow demon living inside first. And yeah, this is going to be a total nightmare. Dale starts sweating. Outside, a massive purple aura explodes where he just stood. Trust me, you and I are definitely going to want to see how he survives this. Stick with me here. You and I need to see if the shadow creature consumes him. Super stressed, Sephia asks what their backup plan is. Alan says they'll just have to pull him out. But before anyone can move, boom, a blinding light explodes and Dale simply pops back out, looking totally unharmed. Flashing a massive smile, he swears he is all good. Sephia rushes over immediately, checking him for any injuries. Dale just laughs, saying he felt a tiny tingle, but he is completely perfectly okay. Alan just frowns, completely baffled. Like, how could a tiny kid instantly tame such an insanely powerful artifact? Eyes practically sparkling, Dale walks up to his dad and asks a huge favor. Can he try grabbing just one more artifact? That wild excitement totally blindsides both his master and the Duke. Alan actually gives the green light, letting Dale raid the artifact stash. Days later, Dale shows up to train with his uncle, rocking that epic shadow cloak. Helmet is absolutely shocked seeing the kid wearing that crazy artifact. He immediately asks if the young master is doing okay. I mean, that gear is famously impossible to control. Dale just shrugs, claiming it only tickles. He guesses the cloak lost its juice from collecting dust. But it glued to him the second it felt his energy. Honestly, it is like the magic item just wanted a new buddy. Still, a dark aura oozes under his boots while he smiles. Dale thanks his uncle for the trust, then drops a bomb. He wants a real, all-out combat duel. Hyped up, Helmet drops into a battle stance, promising to go hard so the young master will not be disappointed. Now watch closely with me. Dale finally feels that insane pressure. Being near one of the continent's 7 strongest swordsmen, it literally crushes your entire body. Helmet just smirks, telling the kid not to sweat it. He explains he is only going to use raw sword skills, completely leaving out his aura. That actually ticks Dale off. A real knight should fight with everything. But whatever, the main goal today is simply learning how to use this epic shadow cloak. If he performs well, this artifact's true potential might finally unlock, and hitting the training ground is the only way to make that happen. Dale throws his hands up, blasting out shadow blades, but Helmet reacts instantly, swinging a single strike that absolutely shatters the entire attack. Dale is completely speechless. Zero aura, but still that much crazy power. Helmet chuckles, praises the kid's solid effort and steps forward. Now, it is his turn. Dale jumps back looking super stressed, barely dodging lightning-fast swings. Helmet studies every single movement, totally amazed that the black aura can literally spawn traps. Still, the kid's defense is not quite enough to save him. Helmet jumps up, bringing a heavy, direct strike crashing down. Dale shoves his hands out, blocking with everything he has got. He actually stops it. The crazy impact sends him sliding backward, but his dark aura stays up. Helmet frowns, seriously impressed. That hit would have shattered a normal sword into pieces. Only a god-tier artifact could ever absorb something like that. Helmet announces they will trade 10 more blows, and this time he is going all out. Later that day, the watching knights are totally mind-blown. None of them have ever survived more than 2 hits against the captain. Even as a literal child, Dale stood his ground like an absolute mountain. A few days pass. On departure morning, Dale sits down for a chat with his mom. Alina confesses that she is absolutely terrified sending her boy to a literal war zone. Dale tries cooling her nerves. Helmet and Dad will be there, but she is still super anxious. Then, he opens up. He needs to get insanely strong so he can eventually take over the entire dukedom. When that day hits, he wants the power to protect his dad, mom, and sister lies. He begs her to let him level up for their sake. Crying, Elena finally agrees. She just begs him to stay safe. Dale jumps on his horse, promising a quick return. Come dawn at the frontline base, Helmut is hyping up a massive formation of elite knights. Alan turns to his kid and tells him to give the march order himself. He explains that this elite black cavalry will be his one day, so he better get used to playing boss. Think about this with me, those awesome knights are not his dad's, they are totally his. Throwing his hand up, our boy yells to move out, hyping them to defend House Saxon with pure pride. The knights thrust their weapons high, roaring they will follow the young master to hell. Everyone rides out full speed toward the crazy battlefield for this epic fight. 250 knights teamed up with elite snipers in the White Mountains. Their target, a terrifying horde of roughly 1,000 nasty orcs. The monsters cross the upper Saxon River running from the cold, aiming straight for the lower valley. The strategy, hit them with a brutal surprise attack before they even cross. But getting 250 armored dudes across deep water requires serious magic. Sephia steps right up, telling everybody to back up. She starts chanting a crazy spell, promising to build a massive ice bridge. Dale is totally stoked seeing his master dominating the battlefield, but suddenly realizes the heavy emotional toll. She is a pacifist totally against violence, standing smack in the middle of a brutal military war zone. Burning huge amounts of mana, Sephia literally creates a gigantic ice bridge, strong enough to carry the army. The path is clear. The elf warmly wishes the Duke victory. Alan drops a classic thank you. Dale gives his master a warm look and waves goodbye. Holding her heart, Sephia feels this weird, unsettled emotion watching her student ride off. Her eyes tear up. She never dreamed of having a student who cared so much. Later, we cut to the messy orc base. The elite scout snipers are perfectly hidden for the ambush. Boom! Suddenly, fire arrows tear through the sky like epic fireworks, raining down everywhere. The orcs are totally clueless. Tons of them get taken out before they can even blink, instantly covering the battlefield in monster bodies. Helmut screams for the cavalry battalions to push forward. The knights aggressively charge out in wedge formation. Watching the epic rush, Helmut asks Dale what he thinks, but our boy is completely zoned out, analyzing horse speed, heavy armor weight, and cool lance angles. A broken strategy for piercing defenses from meters away. So what do you and I think? Trust me, this kid will be an absolute legendary commander. Alright, you and I are jumping right in. Dale points out the one-sided beatdown, and Helmut agrees that's pure Saxon cavalry power. But Helmut warns him not to chill just yet. This fight is far from over. The orcs instantly regroup, pushing hard with massive shields and razor-sharp spears. The ambush hit hard but didn't finish the job. Time to fall back, fix their formation, and crush these monsters with hit-and-run tactics. A bright signal flares up, retreat. The troops instantly peel back, horses sprinting desperately away from the front lines. The orcs freeze for a split second, and then, pure rage. As a Saxon knight hauls out of there, the beasts hurl their spears right at him. Boom, a direct hit on his horse. The beast goes down hard, tossing the knight into the dirt. Dale watches the whole thing. He gulps, realizing the Duke has already written the guy off completely as a total casualty. An orc charges in for the kill. Dale spins around, totally baffled, asking why his dad and uncle are just standing there watching. The two adults just trade looks. Silence, so our boy starts doing the math, sprinting down there on horseback, way too slow. Ranged magic is the only play here, but orc skin is crazy tough. He absolutely needs to tweak his magic formula on the fly. For his ice bolt, Dale literally builds a sniper structure in his mind. He bases it off an assault rifle, cranking up both the firepower and the stability. Now watch closely, this gets wild. He fingerguns the orc about to smash the fallen knight. The beast raises its weapon for the kill. Dale pulls the trigger. Bam, headshot. Helmut is completely stunned by the insane accuracy from that far away, but Dale is already making his move. The Duke orders Helmut to let the kid cook. Pulling off a custom spell at 8 years old proves his inner world is totally geared for real combat, packing serious lethal power. Looking dead serious, the kid charges straight onto the battlefield. The orcs finish rallying, and one giant beast sprints right at him. Dale is juggling two massive problems right now. First off, the grounded knight is completely panicking and frozen. Second, his magic formula takes way too long for close quarters fighting. He needs to dumb it down fast as he runs forward. He starts cooking up a new version. Faster, direct, still highly complex but actually useful up close. He literally forms a frozen bullet. The down knight spots Dale coming. So does the angry orc. At the perfect second, Dale shoots. The icy bullet curves right through the air and totally blasts the monster's skull. The beast drops like a rock. The knight just stares at the kid, totally floored, asking why he'd risk everything to save him. Dale casually hops off his ride and walks over. He tells him to chill. House Saxon never leaves a loyal sword behind. The guy tries to stand, but two more enraged orcs rush them. Dale is not having it. He reaches out, and right as they close the gap, he unleashes his epic shadow blades. A sick purple wave sweeps the dirt, shattering the orcs' weapons. Smiling like a menace, Dale orders his aura to eat them alive. The monster's eyes roll back, totally blank. A purple energy sphere wraps around its body, and it just crumbles, dropping dead next to its buddy. In seconds, the terrifying necromancy magic strips the remaining bodies straight down to the bone. I know what you're thinking, wild right? Dale smiles, wondering why the others haven't bolted yet, and fires one last ice bullet. The kid tells the panicking soldier they are safe, but the man cries out his legs are paralyzed. Dale quickly sizes up the mess and moves without hesitation. Showing insane strength for an 8-year-old, he hoists the soldier up and hauls him to safety. He casually leaves the rest to Uncle Helmet. Helmet grins at the crazy sight and orders all battalions to launch a massive, all-out assault, totally hyped on adrenaline. The troops charge with a massive battle cry, all for young Master Dale. Soon after, back at the Saxon camp, the orc wipeout is officially confirmed. But the Duke calls his son over. He wants the real truth about why the kid solo charged the enemy lines, looking seriously ticked off. He stares Dale down, demanding to know why he pulled such a crazy stunt. Dale starts sweating. Totally confused why he's in trouble. He explains he rushed in because these Saxon knights are the very guys who will serve under him one day. He did what felt right, but his dad instantly shuts it down, saying that excuse is way too weak. Dale fires back, calling out how his dad is famous for valuing his knights, so why did he just stand there watching a guy almost die? Alan drops some harsh truth. Northern border knights don't expect a rescue. Out there, every man has to fight and survive on his own. Waiting for a hero gets you killed fast. The troops must keep sharpening their own skills, and the Duke only jumps in when the threat is literally impossible for them to beat. Dale is totally speechless. A heavy feeling hits his chest as he realizes he completely forgot a core survival instinct that he used to carry with him in his past life. Still, after the scolding, his dad puts a heavy hand on his shoulder. He admits the kid stuck to his guts and says that kind of spirit should never fade. The Duke pulls the tent open, letting the bright sun in, and tells them to head home. Oh, and the rumor of the 8-year-old heir saving a knight. Absolute gossip gold for the Empire. Some dude even claimed the kid wiped out 1,000 orcs single-handedly. Naturally, the hype spread like wildfire. Dale was cringing hard, but the epic rescue seriously boosted the whole territory's vibe. Later on, down at the training grounds, the troops were basically worshipping him. Super embarrassed, Dale begged them to stop making a scene, but Helmet totally disagreed. Helmet told him to flex it and be proud. Raising a hand to hype the squad, he reminded everyone that this loyalty makes them invincible. And that's where we leave it, because just as morale peaks, a maid announces that House Oralheart has arrived. Trust me, you'll want to see this. All right, stick with me here. Dale thanked her and headed out, knowing he was about to meet some seriously important VIPs. House Oralheart, legendary warrior family. They used to be top-tier nobles in Teutonia under Barthel, but lost everything when the kingdom collapsed during unification. When their divine sword wielder died, the family totally crashed. Helmet looked pretty bummed out, probably missing the exact guy who inspired his own knight journey. Yeah, that memory definitely stung. Walking into the main hall where his folks were chilling, the Duke immediately checked if Dale had been keeping up his training. Dale totally had. Then a butler announced the guests, and Alan ordered everyone to show them maximum respect. A woman in mourning clothes stepped up with a little blonde girl. Introducing herself as Vanessa Oralheart, she bowed super humbly to the Duke of Saxon. But the kid froze like a statue. Vanessa gave her a sharp look and introduced her daughter, Charlotte Oralheart, who looked absolutely miserable. Dale was actually shocked watching Charlotte talk back to her own mom right in front of everyone. She basically asked why they were bowing to these random people. The Duke smoothly diffused the tension, mentioning their insanely long, exhausting trip. He told Dale to give Lady Charlotte the Grand Castle tour. Smiling, our boy held out his hand to lead the way. Charlotte just glared with ice in her eyes and smacked his hand away. Dale felt the sting, completely stunned. The Duke and Alina were absolutely speechless. She realized she messed up, but zero apologies given. Instead, she dryly roasted him, calling it classic behavior for uneducated imperial nobles. Her mom furiously demanded an apology. Charlotte just turned around and walked away. Panicking, Vanessa begged her to wait. She turned to the couple, pleading for forgiveness, swearing that Charlotte never usually acted like such a brat. Recent events had completely messed her up. Alina asked what happened. Vanessa revealed that recently. Now watch closely, this gets wild. Count Brandenburg became their territory inspector, a guy famous empire-wide for his skills and his gross nickname, the Pig King. He was obsessed with breeding a super-strong heir. He hunted down talented swordsmen, totally ignoring age or gender, even creeping on literal kids. Vanessa barely escaped with Charlotte right before he could grab her. But yeah, running for your life leaves some serious mental scars on a kid. Voice shaking, she swore she would do absolutely anything to protect Charlotte. But as a ruined noble, she had literally zero power left. So she begged them to take her in, even just as a maid, to hide her from him. Meanwhile, Dale and Charlotte were totally alone outside. Rubbing his neck, our guy asked if she even had a clue where she was wandering. Charlotte bluntly admitted she had no idea. After an awkward pause, she checked if his hand was okay. Dale brushed it off. Gripping her sword, the blonde muttered that was a relief. Then boom, she yanked out her blade, aimed it right at him, and aggressively demanded a duel. Barking like he was her minion, she yelled at him to draw his weapon. Dale started sweating. This girl seriously just did whatever the heck she wanted. Despite her screaming for a fight, Dale calmly asked for a reason. She told him the crazy rumors she had heard going around. An overpowered mage who slaughtered 1,000 orcs and saved a knight. Yeah, Dale totally knew that kind of hype would attract annoying challengers. Beating a VIP like him would prove her worth. More importantly, it would show she was strong enough to protect her mom from that creep, Count Brandenburg. You see that coming? Hearing that name gave Dale literal chills. He remembered that guy's ugly face perfectly. Just another imperial trash bag who betrayed him in his past life. Suddenly, Dale realized they were actually on the same team. Potential allies, but first, a quick reality check. He turned, strolled over to a barrel of swords, and snatched one up. He told her she was totally clueless, pointed the blade right back, and dared her to bring it on. Eyes burning with rage, Charlotte told him to shut up and charged like lightning. The wooden swords clashed with an epic boom. Charlotte was insanely good. She actually broke Dale's guard, hitting him with some heavy aura strikes. Look, just like mages use magic circles. Knights break their limits by hoarding aura inside their bodies. Every single hit she threw carried massive, crushing weight. But Dale blocked it all like a casual warm-up. With every dodge, she threw a counter. Her warrior genes were seriously showing. Her skills were way above his expectations. The fight kept going, steel ringing out across the courtyard, but then Dale noticed a critical detail. Charlotte was fighting with some heavy emotional baggage. Her dad died before she was born, but she grew up hearing epic stories about him. A divine sword user who never retreated. Even after their home and family got destroyed, she thought she had to fill his shoes. She wanted to protect her mom, just like the dad she never met, but it was driving her crazy that she couldn't beat Dale. Going all out, she rushed him again, her blade aimed perfectly at Dale's gut. He dodged in a blur, countering instantly and shoving her back. Charlotte was totally crushed. How could the daughter of the divine sword lose like this? Dale kept it real with her. She wasn't the divine sword yet. It was cool to be proud of her old man. But at her current level, she would never protect her family from the Pig King. He was just too strong. Completely broken, Charlotte started crying. Voice shaking, she asked what she was supposed to do. Dale turned and made an epic vow. He swore on his family to guard House Oralhart. Charlotte was completely stunned. So what do you and I take from this? Until she levels up enough to beat him, Dale is officially her ultimate shield. Stick with me, you are witnessing a legendary alliance begin. Stunned, she asks why. Dale smirks, saying she is worth it, then drops the question. Will she swear to join his family and become House Saxon's sword? Crying, but smiling, Charlotte says there is zero chance she turns an offer like that down. She drops to one knee, swearing a legit knight's vow. Sure, on the surface, it just looks like some cute childhood promise. But this exact moment actually seals massive future consequences. Two absolute prodigies have just teamed up, creating a powerhouse alliance. Later in the office, Dale chats with his dad. Duke Alan confirms that Lady Oralheart is officially part of their duchy as a servant now. He admits it totally caught him off guard, but the second he heard Charlotte agreed, he instantly knew his son was pulling the strings. Dale owns up to it, explaining their promise. He totally swore on their family name to protect House Oralheart. The Duke squints, suspicious, asking if this was just some pity project. No way, Dale shuts that down fast. He spotted insane talent in her, plus that crazy divine sword bloodline. Then he reveals his actual master plan. He wants a new divine sword fighting for their family. The Duke closes his eyes, totally satisfied. Dale grins, knowing he scored his dad's approval. Meanwhile, over in the old capital of Teutonia, Malbarak, a glass shatters everywhere. Count Brandenburg is absolutely seeing red. He screams at his men, demanding to know how they failed and got played so badly. Now pay attention, the tension is rising. The assassins got wiped out before even reaching Saxon, and Charlotte is the prime suspect. The Count closes his eyes, practically boiling over. He mutters that his men are completely useless trash. No exceptions. Walking over to a massive sword mounted on the wall, he gently runs his hand across the cold steel. Suddenly, an old battlefield memory flashes through his mind, still sliding his fingers down the blade. He whispers to the sword, Durandal, asking for its opinion. To this guy, it is not a weapon, it is basically his bride. He begs it to wait just a bit longer, promising to find the perfect bloodline to wield it again. He glares back at his soldier, barking out a brand new order. Call up the Thieves' Guild and send them straight to the duchy. Flashing a psycho smile, he makes it crystal clear, money is no object. He wants Charlotte back, no matter what. Fast forward 1 week since their epic oath. Charlotte has been grinding hard, training endlessly as a lady-in-waiting. Sparring with Dale is her new routine, always with Uncle Helmut watching. Dale takes his stance, flashing a confident grin, totally ready. Charlotte gets set, definitely looking way more nervous. Helmut gives the signal, and boom, their swords instantly clash. Dale completely dominates, dodging her attacks like it is nothing. But Charlotte refuses to quit, and he quickly realizes she has seriously leveled up. She is actually blocking his hits. Helmut watches with pure pride. Up close, this is not kid stuff anymore. They are fighting like legit knights. Still, something creeps him out. The insane speed and pure killing intent coming from both kids is wild. You saw that too, right? This gets crazy. Dale uses his cape to block, leaving a huge opening. Charlotte dashes in for the finishing thrust, but Helmut suddenly steps in and kills the match. He hypes her progress, but Charlotte ignores the praise. She tells him to skip the empty words and just tell her what she is doing wrong. Helmut stares her down, asking if she knows how a rapier really works. She says it is all about thrusting. He shoots that down immediately. It is all about footwork, movement, and spacing. Dale steps up, showing her how to close the gap and flawlessly dodge every thrust. Right there, Charlotte should have backed up, made some space, and hunted for a new opening. Her stance and footwork are still completely sloppy. Since she never had a legit master, they have to rebuild her basics from zero. The harsh critique obviously stings. Seeing her pout, Dale playfully ruffles her hair, saying he was just messing around because she is cute. The heavy tension finally drops. Now, building a mana circle is insanely slow. You have to feel the mana flow around your heart until it takes root. Honestly, it can take actual decades. Sephia asks Dale if he has already finished his second circle. He casually says yes. Mana speed is measured in rotations per minute. Beginners usually hit 300. Dale is crushing that number, meaning he is already strong enough to reach the third circle. Even so, he wants to perfect his current powers first. He starts upgrading his ice bullet technique, compressing it to boost its weight and extreme hardness. Aiming right at a tree, he focuses hard and fires. Boom, the bullet shreds straight through the wood easily. Dale stares at the hole, wondering if making armor-piercing magic was always this easy. Sephia just smiles, totally proud. No surprise, this kid is a genius. Dale credits his teacher, saying he will always be grateful. From saving the night to the whole Charlotte situation, the elf trusts him completely now. Honestly, to Sephia, the kid's raw talent is borderline terrifying. Still, he is her absolute pride and joy. She pulls him into a super tight, warm hug, completely short-circuiting the poor guy's brain. Later at sunset in the garden, Dale is still stressing over that hug. Does she still just see him as a little kid? Whatever, back to training. Dead focused, he summons an ice wall, extending his hands to channel raw energy over it. This time he tries a crazy variation, an ice bullet that acts like a shotgun blast. A dozen small projectiles explode forward, smashing the barrier with perfect accuracy. Shards ricochet everywhere. Dale instantly throws up a shield to protect himself, checking out the damage. He considers adding an explosive fragmentation effect next. Suddenly, a voice interrupts. It is Charlotte, completely surprised to catch him training out here. She is practicing footwork. Dale says she loves learning and she smiles. Trust me, you and I definitely want to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are jumping right in. She awkwardly apologizes, admitting she was totally rude. Calling him by name, she immediately corrects to young master. Dale closes his eyes. Yeah, she was way out of line. But then, he flashes a smile and says it is all good. He is making a special exception just for her. Charlotte looks totally shocked, but he confirms it, begging her to drop the stiff formalities. Chilling by a tree, they just talk. Charlotte admits she loves the cold air here. Even during night training, that sudden temperature drop just feels refreshing. Dale totally agrees, watching her bright smile. He realizes this girl actually shares the exact same vibe as him. His heart definitely skips a beat. Meanwhile, they are being watched from a window. Elena smirks, telling her husband their son is officially in his flirting era. The dad wonders if they actually make a good couple. Her answer, only time will tell. Elena declares it is a mom's job to help her kid own his feelings. Fast forward to the duchy's outskirts. Elena chats with a bread vendor, sweetly telling the old guy to watch his health. This poor district is completely packed with struggling, homeless people. It is where the Duchess does her charity runs, passing out food and supplies. And this year, Charlotte and Dale are tagging along. Suddenly, a ragged crying kid runs up to Charlotte, begging for help. His mom is in danger, but Dale immediately senses a massive red flag. Why ask a kid instead of an adult? Plus, they are drifting away from their guards. Scanning the rooftops, Dale spots a hooded figure. Pay close attention, this is where everything flips. Dale realizes they are thieves, targeting Charlotte. The boy tells them to wait, promising he will bring his mom. But instead of a mom, a squad of knife-wielding thugs step out, the leader. Sneers, he did not expect to find fancy nobles in the stump. He claims they only want the maid beside him, telling the young master to back off. Flashing his knife, he warns Dale not to play hero. But Dale just smiles. He literally swore to protect his friend from trash exactly like them. The bandit just laughs, mocking the kid's cute little noble chivalry as truly admirable. He says Dale needs to read the room. As his men close in, the leader decides it is time to teach this kid a harsh real-world lesson. Charlotte panics, she left her sword at the castle. But Dale stays ice-cold, telling her there is zero reason to be scared right now. This is the perfect test run for his new skill, the Shadow Mantle. Bandits rushing in, Dale does not even flinch. A sick purple aura explodes from his body, whipping up a terrifying wind. The leader screams to back off, instantly recognizing the deadly threat before anyone else. The aura blasts them back, but one guy gets totally swallowed by the energy. The Shadow Mantle literally injects a shadow parasite into his body. It turns him into a mindless undead soldier taking orders. The boss is absolutely stunned. The possessed thug morphs into a full-on monster, claws ripping through his skin. On a creepy loop, he just mutters how terribly hungry he is. You seeing this? Absolute madness. The panicked boss screams to kill the monster, totally forgetting who this kid even is. One slip-up means game over for everyone. The bandits rush Dale. This green-haired dude sprints in circles around our main character at lightning speed, throwing rapid-fire daggers. But Dale blocks it all effortlessly with his dark aura. With zero hesitation, the bandit goes for a straight-up killing lunge. But Dale is ready. Boom! He blasts a devastating shot using his double-barrel 12-gauge skill. The insane impact sends the guy flying like a ragdoll. Charlotte watches, completely mind-blown. Meanwhile, Dale's personal zombie is just ripping through the rest of the surviving henchmen. The heavily bleeding leader screams it isn't over and charges Dale. Big mistake. He runs face first into a magic circle Dale already set up. The undead just keeps whining about being so very hungry, as it brutally finishes off the very last bandit. Fight over, Dale casually walks to Charlotte, checking if she is safe. The only survivor watches this literal horror movie play out. And just starts screaming. Before he can run, Dale shatters his leg with an ice bullet. Then, he casually snaps his fingers, deleting the undead. Still twitching on the ground, the cornered thief cries for mercy, promising to spill every single secret, but before he even finishes his sentence, boom, a bullet straight to the head. Dale coldly states he does not want to hear anything. The guy drops dead instantly. Charlotte looks around, totally traumatized by the carnage. Dale explains this is the ugly truth of the Saxon Duchy. It is a terrifying place, but this is the power needed to protect her. Looking worried, he finally asks if she is terrified of him now. She closes her eyes, takes a breath, and says she is fine. Her friend literally fought to keep her safe, after yesterday's massive oath. She made a promise to herself. Her entire family would become the ultimate shield to protect him, and looking ahead to the future. She vows to repay him by becoming his personal sword. Smiling brightly, she thanks Dale for showing her reality, promising to get super strong. This totally catches the boy off guard. He spaces out, trying to figure out why he feels this massive urge to keep Charlotte safe. Sure, part of it is lingering guilt over Lord Babel, but as he slowly reaches his hand out toward her right now, he realizes something huge. If Charlotte truly wants to be his sword, that bond means so much more than he ever expected. Their hands finally meet, sealing an unbreakable bond. Meanwhile, over in Count Brandenburg's territory, the dude is frozen at his desk, shaking and sweating. Trust me, we leave it here. He's holding a letter inviting him to the Duke of Saxons, despite the brutal journey ahead. All right, stick with me here. The Black Duke just dropped a direct, non-negotiable summons. He was holding this guy completely responsible for the whole messy incident. It left zero options, not even for the legendary Sword Saint. Days later, Brandenburg stood face to face with the Duke right inside Saxon Castle. Alan played it cool. He said the trip must have been rough, acted surprised he showed up so fast, and casually apologized for the basic reception. Sweating bullets, Brandenburg threw a hand over his heart. He swore that literally nothing mattered more than a direct call from his grace. He stared at the two kids, some really dark thoughts brewing. Then he brought up the Empire's massive panic over the territory's recent chaos. I mean, a daylight kidnapping. Yeah, that gets people talking. He admitted he knew exactly why he got dragged out here. But then he played dumb. How could the Emperor's most loyal sword ever be tied to such a totally disgusting crime? Now watch this. Alan blasted a purple aura, whipping up a massive wind that completely knocked Brandenburg's men right off their feet. In seconds, the soldiers literally started turning to dust, screaming in pure horror. Brandenburg watched his elite holy knights get wiped off the map without throwing a single punch. Shaking, he asked the Duke what that magic was. High-level dark magic, the Nile Storm. With ice in his voice, Alan promised that if Brandenburg even looked at those kids again, his entire family line would be erased. He told him to burn that threat into his brain, then, completely changing his tune. Alan smiled, saying the man must be exhausted, and told him to relax. Shaken to his core, Brandenburg thanked him, but awkwardly made up some excuse, saying he absolutely had to leave the territory right away. As he bilayed, Alan wished him a very safe trip home. The Count was basically the Emperor's right-hand man, and he just saw something that changes the whole game. A ticking time bomb ready to shatter the Empire. It starts as a tiny spark, sure, but it is about to explode into a raging inferno. And taking the Sword Saint's head, that epic job belongs to our protagonist. Pretty soon, crazy rumors spread that the Saint actually knelt for the Black Duke. Alan pulled back a cloth, showing something that left Safia totally speechless. It was the mangled bodies of the bandit guild who attacked Dale. Safia completely froze, realizing her own tiny student had absolutely wrecked them. Missing organs, crushed bones, totally brutal. Let that sink in for a second, because Safia seriously started questioning her whole teaching method. But Alan insisted she was the only one who could guide Dale's insane talent properly. So he offered her the chief advisor spot. The elf looked down, stressing out, because she totally knew what this really meant. She wasn't just tutoring anymore, she was joining the Saxon family. Even with his dad around, keeping Dale in check was a huge team effort. Having an elite elf backing him changes everything. Taking a breath, Safia firmly accepted. She knew the deal. And dealing with that crazy kid, definitely the hardest job of her life. Fast forward and boom, Dale turns 10. This time, heavy hitters from the Emperor's faction showed up. The VIP of the night, the famous Marquis Yulis. A red-haired guy with a super nice smile. He walked right up, acting friendly, and said meeting young Master Dale was an absolute honor. Before he even spoke, the guests were mind-blown by the insane feast. People were whispering how crazy it was to see this much luxury up north. One noble even laughed, feeling super dumb for ever doubting the duchy's massive wealth. These capital nobles were the emperor's top dogs, and them showing up was no accident. It was a massive flex from the imperial family. They weren't just going to ignore that huge insult to the sword saint, and the guy leading the charge. He was already bowing to Dale with that fake smile. Yulis ran the red magic tower, total pyromaniacs, obsessed with raw fire. Absolute fury and brutal dominance. These mages believed power was everything, perfectly happy acting as deadly weapons for anyone with enough ambition. Dale had tangled with them before. Yulis mentioned he had heard crazy rumors about the kid's god-tier talent. Wiping out a whole squad of orcs just to save a family knight at 9 years old, he practically hyped him up as the perfect son of a legendary duke. Dale gave a fake polite bow, thanked him, and told him to enjoy the party. Later, wandering the halls by himself. Dale sighed, getting hyped up like that every single year was super draining. Honestly, he just wanted to be training with Charlotte. But on paper, she was just a normal maid. If anyone figured out the sword god's daughter was secretly training, total disaster. He was thinking when a desperate scream echoed. Some rough voice was violently telling a girl to shut up. Calling her useless trash, Dale sprinted over. A young maid was on the floor, begging and saying she belonged to House Saxon, right above her. Some heavyset, red-haired guy glared in pure disgust. He spat that a filthy servant shouldn't even dare say the duchy's name. During the big party, everyone was distracted, and he wanted to have some sick fun of his own. Cornering the girl, he barked at her to obey. Dale instantly stepped up, demanding to know what was going on. The creep recognized him and started stuttering dumb excuses, but Dale pressed harder. Then Petro flashed a completely disgusting grin, asking if the kid had ever been with a woman. He actually offered to give him a sick personal lesson. So what do you and I make of this guy? Total garbage. Dale's patience hit zero, charging up a massive magic circle to wreck him. All right, you and I are about to dive into something crazy. Petro thought this kid would never dare attack an imperial official. He thought wrong. A razor-sharp ice spike just grazed his face. Completely caught off guard, Petro hit the dirt, suddenly realizing he almost died. But Dale did not care. Attacking an imperial noble meant massive trouble, and he straight up ignored it. Bleeding from his cheek, Petro screamed, demanding an explanation. Dale just cranked his volume, ordering the guy to his knees to apologize to Eve. She was House Saxon staff, period. Petro barked back that he represented the emperor himself. And insulting him just to defend a lowly servant, that was absolute treason. Dale instantly fired back. Does the emperor normally run around harassing other people's maids? Petro was absolutely fuming. Right before things went totally nuclear, backup showed up. Dale didn't even blink, declaring this was his final warning for the guy to kneel down. Yulis watched this mess with a creepy smile, telling the Duke what an epic show this was. Alan marched in, demanding answers immediately. Dale explained the creep tried grabbing their family's maid. The Duke frowned, asking if a tiny issue really justified disrespecting Lord Petro. Petro tried getting up, but Dale shut him down hard. No one said you could stand. The kid then dropped pure facts. Capital nobles carry the emperor's name. Harassing a maid drags that name through the mud, and he wouldn't allow it. Ulrich stepped in, clapping for the young master's massive brain. He said Dale was spot on. Anyone acting for the emperor shouldn't act like trash. Now watch closely, this is where things get wild. Magic surged into his hand, Tolera. He locked eyes with Petro and declared this worm needed to die. Panicking, Petro tried scrambling away, but nope. Game over. A massive blast of fire slammed right into him, melting him on the spot with absolutely unbearable screaming pain. As Petro turned into literal ash, Ulrich claimed he was just punishing someone who insulted the imperial family. He added that Dale's future looked very, very promising. Dale heard that loud and clear. Yeah, that definitely was not a friendly compliment. Finally, the Emperor's goons packed up and left the castle in peace. Later on, a maid gently woke young Master Dale for the day. Dale thanked her, but caught this really heavy sadness hiding on the girl's face. Something was up. She hesitated hard, finally whispering that it was a huge honor to serve him. Dale was confused. Why did a basic greeting take so much effort? Whatever, he thanked her and played it cool. But make no mistake, he knows exactly who he is, the Saxon Duchy's eldest son, and he's fully ready to use every single resource to crush the Empire. Later, Alan pulled his son aside for a serious chat. He always knew Dale was a genius, but lately, the kid was acting suspicious. Playing it safe, Dale asked what he meant. Then he dropped his theory if the otherworldly hero hadn't died fighting Lord Bartle. The Saxon Duchy would have been the Empire's next target. Alan was stunned by this wild claim, demanding his proof. Let's pause for a second. Dale obviously can't confess he knows the Empire's evil plans from his past life, right? Or that the hero was secretly thrown away because he got way too overpowered. So he improvised. He pointed out that after the hero beat the Demon King, the Empire totally left the darkness. Instead, they forced House Saxon to burn their own cash, cultivating it as an imperial zone. Super shady. As long as that darkness stays, the family bleeds money. Plus, everyone up north started treating them like outcasts, literally calling them the Dark Clan. Just like tossing out the hero, the Empire's next logical move is deleting internal threats. Alan asked how a 10-year-old knew the hero was discarded. Dale lied smoothly, simple deduction, from reading between the lines of official records. Almost nobody knew the real story, and the Duke was seriously blown away. Dale finished his pitch. Basically, the Empire's so-called justice is just bullying and brutalizing weaker territories. Alan realized his kid was a total mastermind. So what's the game plan for House Saxon? Dale didn't even blink. Coexistence is completely impossible. To survive, they have to burn the Empire to the ground. Alan just completely froze up. He whispered Dale's name, staring him down, asking if he actually understood the insane weight of those words. Dale clarified he wasn't saying they should grab swords and start a rebellion tomorrow morning. It's a 10-year master plan. Plenty of backstabbed leaders, just like the Duke, already want independence. The economy is literally tanking right now. Bandits are everywhere, and post-war fallout is getting worse. House Saxon just needs to secretly build their defenses. Dale laid out his entire masterclass strategy until the sun actually went down. Then he finally asked for his dad's thoughts. A smile cracked across the Duke's face, erupting into full-blown laughter. He admitted his son's vision was light years ahead of his own. He declared it an absolute honor to be his father. From this exact second, Dale wasn't just a 10-year-old kid or merely the eldest son anymore. You and I are officially looking at the true future leader of House Saxon. Epic. All right, you and I are jumping right back in. Without hesitating, our boy Dale shoots his shot and asks his dad for permission to enter the Deadly Tower trial over in Necropolis. This trial, basically a massive brawl to rank the mages who fight the Tower Guardians. Beat a high-level boss, and boom, you get promoted to elder status. Clear the whole thing, you become a master, but Alan is not thrilled. He warns Dale that this challenge is a literal death trap. Plus, it is way too early. Dale has not even hit the third circle of magic yet, but Dale just smirks, promising he will level up soon. The Duke is like, bro, normal mages only hit the third circle in their 20s. Even for a second circle prodigy, making that jump is insanely hard to pull off. Dale stares right back, completely unfazed. He insists this is the ultimate power move for House Saxon. If he crushes the tower, the Duke gets a legit, battle-tested heir. We are talking solid street cred here, not just empty rumors floating around the capital. Alan asks if that is his main reason. Dale confirms. The Duke gives a small smile and agrees. Dale promises to prove his worth. A few days later, we hit Necropolis, the literal city of the dead. 3 figures step up to a massive gate just as a carriage finally rolls in. A dude steps out, sighing that they finally made it. everyone around them instantly drops into a deep bow, hyping up the legendary Black Duke. Dale just yawns, completely exhausted from the long road trip. Seeing everyone bowing so hard, he realizes they are being way too extra with the formal greetings again. The second the father and son duo show up, the crowd starts whispering like crazy. They are all gossiping about how this kid is a magic prodigy but looks completely drained. Another guy chimes in, saying his sword skills actually rival the Duke's elite knights. Then, this arrogant blonde guy named Velik steps up, loudly bragging that he is the Academy's top grad and the only one who deserves to win this trial. A young woman named Eris walks over and respectfully bows to the Lord of the Tower. The Duke smiles, mentioning it has been a hot minute since they last met. Eris is a Tower Elder and the Secretary General. She basically runs the entire show whenever the Black Duke is away. Alan tells her she will be Dale's personal assistant for the trial. Dale gives a super polite intro, and Eris immediately asks the young lord to follow her lead. She explains that 59 angry Academy grads are already waiting. The heavy doors swing open, revealing a massive room packed with competitors looking totally ready for an all-out brawl. Eris steps up to the podium, gives a quick greeting, and gets right into it. She breaks down the crazy rules for the Dark Magic Tower's first floor. First, everyone needs to check the life point collar locked around their necks. Basically, this trial is a straight-up battle royale. Every collar holds a protective shield and one single life point. You have to use the dead bodies scattered everywhere to attack opponents, smash their shields, and instantly eliminate them. Land a clean hit, get an extra point. Score 3 points total, and you automatically pass to the next floor. Using artifacts, total ban, instant disqualification. Dale takes all this in and realizes these savage rules are literally just designed to quickly weed out the weak trash. Off to the side, some guys are whispering that the young lord is somehow already at the third magic circle. Velik smirks, saying that is exactly why they need to gang up on him first. A guy nervously asks if attacking the lord is allowed, but the blonde villain just grins. Watch closely because this gets wild. In here, everyone is an equal target. The starting signal drops, and in a massive twist, literally every single competitor aims their magic circle straight at Dale. One dude channels a ton of dark energy into his arm. He forms a glowing purple sphere and smashes it down, summoning an undead monster. Everyone else joins in, spawning demonic creatures and firing nasty spells. A whole army of freaky monsters rushes the kid. A zombie with a massive machete charges in and swings hard. Dale throws up a shield, but something else totally blocks the zombie's second strike. Boom, another undead just spawns out of nowhere, catching the blade with its bare claws. The crazy part, nobody even saw Dale cast the summoning spell. Turns out, while flexing dark magic, Dale stealthily casted water magic at the exact same time. His custom monster lunges forward and absolutely obliterates an opponent's undead pawn. The enemy mage is furious, completely losing his mind over his precious creation getting wrecked. Dale's absolute unit of a monster tanks every single hit. Why? Because Dale hooked it up with a custom, heavy-duty suit of ice armor, making it basically unkillable. Velik angrily steps up, crying to the ref that water magic has to be cheating, claiming only dark magic is allowed here. He says they should only be summoning and buffing zombies. Dale just chills, looks at Eris, and asks if there is any actual rule against combo magic. The trial just keeps rolling. Silence means yes. Out of options, Velik screams at his squad to handle the ice zombie while he personally rushes Dale. In his arrogant head, having more guys guarantees an easy win. Meanwhile, Dale's brain is rapidly downloading the rulebook one last time. I know what you're thinking. No artifacts allowed, right? Well, watch this epic workaround. Risky but totally doable. Dale blitzes through the chaotic battlefield, dodging demonic claws left and right. He gets insanely close to an enemy zombie holding a massive knife. It looks like he is about to take a fatal slash, but he catches the raw blade with one hand, charging pure magic into his other fist. He violently snatches the weapon away and blasts the zombie with a crazy magic-infused punch. He stares at the stolen knife for 1 second, then goes full ninja mode. Velik and his buddies are absolutely shook seeing a tough, undead get sliced like butter. They instantly assume the knife is some overpowered hidden artifact. But here is the secret. Dale literally restructured the zombie bones internally to max out the blade's durability. He zips across the zone like lightning, slicing down enemies with crazy fast, hyper-precise sword strikes. Velik's jaw hits the floor. His elite summoned soldiers are dropping like flies. A mage dominating with a sword, total cheat code. Dale corners the arrogant blonde, who instantly starts begging for his life. So what do you and I learn today? Never challenge a magic prodigy. Dale figures he won't actually die, so he just delivers one clean, brutal strike to the dome. Bam! Velik drops to the ground, out cold. With 0 damage taken, Dale moves on alone. Stick with me here, because you and I are about to see this kid completely break the system. Phase 2 of the tower trial kicks off. The goal: destroy the Guardian, a massive flesh golem. Normally, everyone surviving the first round teams up for this. But since Dale literally wiped the floor with everyone, he is flying solo. Good news though, all magic is finally back on the table. Artifacts are still banned, so his trusty cloak is off limits. Honestly, doesn't even matter. This is exactly the chance he needed. Time to test his third magic circle at max power. The golem charges without hesitating, dropping a brutal, heavy punch right on top of him. The impact hits like absolute thunder. The monster actually smiles, thinking it won. But then, wait. Its arm is completely engulfed in endless purple flames. Dale planted that magic silently before the hit even landed. It is a nasty technique called corrupt acceleration. He invented this skill himself, insanely rare for a 10-year-old. Instead of a quick kill, it slowly rots the target from the inside out. In his past life, Dale realized biological warfare destroys monsters best. Sure enough, the nasty smell of rotting flesh starts rising off the golem. Barely anyone there understands how terrifying this magic really is. Dale easily shatters records, clearing all the way through Phase 10. He gets a 4-day break as a reward, leaving everyone else absolutely speechless. The other 59 candidates face special reassessments, while our guy simply walks away. Later that night, Dale is just chilling quietly by a fountain. Suddenly, someone calls his name. He turns around, genuinely surprised. It is Sephia. She walks up, totally hyping his trial performance. Dale plays it smooth, saying he only pulled it off thanks to everything she taught him. His master smiles, super touched by that. Then, looking dead serious, Dale drops a totally unexpected invitation. He straight up asks her out. There is a huge festival happening, and he wants her company. Sephia hesitates briefly, then agrees. Blushing a little, she figures it is totally fine, even though she knows her student is way too young to understand what going on a date actually means. The Necropolis Festival is loud, vibrant, and packed. Fireworks light up the night sky. Sephia asks if he is exhausted from the trial. Dale says he has plenty of days to chill before the next phase. A slightly awkward silence drops between them. The full moon is glowing, and the vibe is just gorgeous. Sephia looks around, smiling softly. Dale realizes chatting with her is never super easy, but this silence, it isn't uncomfortable at all. It was always like that with his master, probably because she always had his back. Anyway, days earlier. Now pay attention, here is where it gets crazy. Pushing for that third circle, Dale hit the dangerous mind space Sephia always warned about. While focusing hard, blood just started dripping from his nose. To break his limits, he had to force out insane amounts of mana, relying entirely on the dangerous backflow to hit Tier 3. Insanely difficult for anyone. For a kid, basically impossible. Dale felt the intense recoil like a blade piercing his chest. He stared at his tightly gripped sword, and boom, suddenly teleported. A freezing, desolate snowfield, with dead, bare trees stretching as far as he could see. Completely confused, he looked down at his own hands and saw his adult body from his past life. This was his own mind space. His inner world was shattered and glitching out, torn apart between his current kid self and his past life. Nothing but a massive, endless void. And inside that emptiness, his master's hand was his only real anchor. That is probably exactly why he wanted her in his world so much. Back in the present, Dale finally hypes himself up. He just blurts out that he loves Master Sephia. Completely caught off guard, she stutters, asking him to repeat it. Nervous, he does. Sephia just gives him a warm smile and pulls him into a super gentle, sisterly hug. She says she understands his feelings and cares about him deeply, too. Dale silently says thanks, thinking this whole second life thing actually has some major perks. A few days fly by. The sun is blazing as the day of the huge tower challenge finally rolls around. Since the festival, things stayed normal. His master definitely just sees him as a kid with an innocent 10-year-old crush. Dale locks back in on the trial. This time, a brutal magic duel. Winner moves on. His opponent is Albert Rosenheim, a legit third circle master. And this dude makes it super clear from the jump, he is not pulling punches just because he is fighting a kid. You and I need to let that sink in. Magic and artifacts are completely unrestricted here. No protection amulet guarantees your survival. With zero limits, Dale can finally flex his true power. But before he moves, a massive purple aura blasts his way, exploding violently. It creates a thick smoke cloud like a bomb. Albert brags that he isn't some rookie student, and Dale's cocky attitude dies right here. Multiple magic circles pop up around the guy, rapid-firing dark arrows everywhere. Albert smirks, highly doubting the kid can block all of this. Albert preps another arrow, yelling that this is way too much arrogance for a totally inexperienced rookie. He unloads everything at once to test the boy, but Dale doesn't block, he just dodges, perfect precision, zero wasted movements, absolutely clean. Casting before the duel started was an incredibly cheap shot, but the judges don't intervene at all. They are too hyped to see how far Dale goes. This exact shady behavior is why Dale honestly hates mages. Albert grips his book, and being totally dramatic, summons undead monsters demanding absolute loyalty. So cringy to watch. But still, the dude's magic skills are way beyond anyone Dale has fought yet. The monsters charge. Dale easily dodges without sweating. Albert taunts his running, but you and I both know this cocky mage is about to get absolutely wrecked. Alright, stick with me here. A purple aura absolutely shreds this axe-wielding undead's neck. That epic energy blasts outward, totally wiping out the rest of the mob. Albert keeps grinning and running his mouth, but right as those monsters drop dead. Boom, they trigger a massive self-destruct. Dust completely buries the whole arena. The mage practically throws a party, bragging about his win. Then the smoke clears. His target totally gone. Albert spins around, clueless as to when he moved. Dale's voice suddenly echoes everywhere. He calls him out, saying cheating against a kid is pure coward energy. The mage panics, frantically searching. Out of nowhere, Dale pops up right behind him, spotting that terrified face. He casually praises the surprise attack and steps closer, completely wrapped up in the spectral aura. But he drops a brutal fact. Albert isn't even close to winning this fight. Dark energy straight up pins the mage down, totally ready to eat him alive. Dale just smirks, warning his shadowy creatures to leave at least a little bit behind. The crowd watches in absolute horror like it's a living nightmare. Albert gets yanked and twisted, seconds away from becoming monster food. Dale jokes that his pets might just be a little hangry today. Terrified, the mage pathetically begs to survive. Dale flashes a magic circle and commands his shadows to chill out. Albert hits the dirt, completely knocked out cold. Round 1 is officially in the books. Hands on his hips, Dale casually asks who wants next. Half the guys quit right there, way too terrified to fight that monster. By the finals, practically everyone has bylaid. Dale breezes through the ranks, catching only one decent fight the whole time. After that, he masters all 3 magic circles, and just starts wrecking floor guardians left and right. Hitting floor 20, an actually worthy boss finally decides to show up. Now pay attention, things get wild here. It's a headless knight riding horseback, forged by a Black Tower elder. This monster is on a completely different level, maybe his actual limit. Yeah, right, Dale thinks basic strategies are way too boring anyway. The crowd holds their breath as he stares down the charging undead horseman. Then an absolute glitch happens. The massive creature slams the brakes and kneels down, acting like Dale is its one true king. Dale just watches, his face totally deadpan. Inside his mental space, it's just him and the knight. He coldly gives the command to end itself. Zero hesitation, the guardian just obeys. It shoves its own blade through its chest and hits the floor. Even Dale is a bit stunned. A monster betraying its creator doesn't really shock him, but the audience reaction says everything. The entire crowd is sitting there completely mind-blown. Stealing a creation's loyalty that means exactly one insane thing. Dale is already swinging at the same power level as the Black Tower elder himself. Totally satisfied, he calls it quits right there. No point flexing any harder today. The spectators are super confused about why he stopped. But Dale knows exactly where to draw the line. Pushing further means walking right into the danger zone. His tower run is officially over. The tower literally recognizes his epic run. When the Duke shows up, everybody instantly bows down. The whole Black Tower shows total respect. Not just the Saxon nobles, but every single mage and elder dips their head for the Duke and his son. Thanks to Dale's absolute god-tier moves, the fractured north finally starts pulling together. Now you and I are heading up to the Saxon duchy. A hardcore warrior rushes in, pinning two massive orcs with pinpoint spear strikes. Another guy hoists his weapon, screaming out that he bleeds for young Master Dale and House Saxon, right after destroying the tower trials. Our boy was ordered by the Duke to crush this orc invasion. Spearmen, heavy warriors, and elite knights all charge into the meat grinder. That is an insane amount of pressure for a 10-year-old kid, but honestly, nobody doubts him. Stepping up as the Black Duke's heir, Dale is uniting the North. Clear blue skies stretch over the kingdom. The post-battle report confirms an absolutely massive kill count, 145 orcs wiped off the map. The Duke checks on cavalry losses, and Dale casually reports just 3 guys got minor scratches. His dad asks if they needed magic shields out there. The kid doesn't hesitate. It was 100% the pure skill of House Saxon's blades. Flashing a proud smile, the Duke praises his son. Helmut chimes in, saying the kid is a completely natural-born commander now. Helmut is the exact same guy who drilled swordsmanship, deep strategy, and war tactics into Dale's head. The day he takes over his own giant territory is approaching super fast, getting Dale totally hyped. Nothing gets this guy fired up like a brand new challenge. Meanwhile, Charlotte is training like an absolute beast. She screams out, lunging forward with her practice sword aimed straight at her sparring partner's face. He casually dodges and throws a counter. She barely manages to block it. Dale's speed is ridiculous right now, almost too fast to track. Still, the blade slices dangerously close to his chin. Dale gives her props, admitting she's leveled up a ton. She fires back that acting so mature makes him sound completely unrecognizable, making him burst out laughing, wondering if he's been trolling her too hard lately. Charlotte mentions that ever since he unlocked the 3rd magic circle and cleared floor 20, everybody treats him like royalty, constantly kissing up. She asks if all that fake hype gets annoying. Smiling, he tells her to just chill, promising she'll be super strong pretty soon too. For a 10-year-old girl. Her combat talent is honestly insane, but she absolutely hates his patronizing tone. Visibly annoyed, she tells him to stop babying her. Dale laughs, reminding her she literally is one. The blonde shoves a finger in his face, snapping that he's 10 years old too. Shocked, he points at himself like, "Who me?" then smirks, claiming his mind is already full grown. Charlotte totally drops the useless argument right there. A little bit later, Helmut meets up with Dale, promising today's masterclass is gonna be special. Time to learn the hammer and anvil strat. The cavalry pushes hard on both flanks, looping around to trap the enemy, while the infantry holds the brutal front line. You're basically forging metal, smashing them between a hammer and a solid anvil until they break completely. Dale realizes this heavy play only works thanks to their black cavalry. So what do you and I make of this? War never changes, only the players. Alright, stick with me here. Our guy completely flips the conversation to check on Charlotte. Helmut says she is honestly crushing her training, leaving the boys totally in the dust. Her sword skills are rock solid. Pretty soon, she is going to unlock those epic Saxon family aura techniques. Still, something is bugging him. Dale connects the dots fast. It is her compatibility with the family style. Just like mages pump mana through magic circles, knights grind aura through crazy internal training. Take the legendary Black Cavalry, who dominate wars, or the Northern Night Ravens, who are all about pure brutal strength. The issue, Charlotte is a total speed demon. Sure, she has insane talent and could reach the 7th sword tier, but hitting the absolute peak, maybe never. Her dad was actually an elite legend back in the day. Dale mentions the spring sword, thinking if that fighting style was still around, everything would be completely different. Too bad that ancient knight technique got totally wiped off the map ages ago. But is it really gone forever? While Dale grinds away to build his hype through epic fights and non-stop duties, it is finally time to flex his training. In a tense meeting, the Duke questions a crazy new report. A messenger claims the neighbor, Baron Faucher, is stealing a copper mine and demanding a turf war. Now pay attention here. A minor noble fighting the mighty Saxons sounds insane, but there is way more at play. If they reject the mine demand and actually go to full-blown war, the Grand Duke of Brandenburg might team up with the Baron for cash. Plus, the crazy strong order of St. Madeleine could get mobilized. Dale looks completely stressed out. It is super obvious the enemy is still salty about their past humiliating defeat. A huge showdown is brewing. Ever since that epic clash, Count Brandenburg has been plotting revenge non-stop, but starting a straight-up war was way too risky. So he targets a sneaky border region to keep his hands clean. Dale walks right up to his dad and drops a major request. He wants to personally lead the Saxon knights into battle. His dad instantly shuts him down. The Duke says he is not ready. Fighting actual humans is totally different from hunting monsters, and he seriously needs to watch his big mouth. Facing the messenger, the Duke promises Baron Greenbelt that the mine is safe. The guy thanks him, sweating bullets but super relieved. Later on, Dale totally vents to Helmut, bragging that he could lead way better than anyone else. The knight gets it, but says his dad has his reasons. Changing gears, he hypes up a special training session and pulls out a literal board game. Dale instantly spots it as basically chess, even if this world calls it something entirely different. Helmut explains the game mirrors actual warfare with super complicated rules. If Dale seriously wants to master battlefield strategy, this is his golden ticket. Dale snatches the board and sprints away. Helmut just stands there totally confused by the reaction. Dale immediately bursts in on his dad, board in hand. His deal: win one match and he officially joins the turf war. He argues war is about pure brainpower, not just muscle, demanding a fair shot. Helmut tries to jump in and apologize for the mess. But the Duke interrupts and totally accepts. Dale wins, he joins the war. He loses, he drops it forever. High stakes right here. You and I might think it is just a game, but watch closely. Helmut spots something totally mind-blowing. Our guy is playing like an absolute genius. After an insane brain battle, Dale clutches a 2-1 win, even though his dad had better numbers and field position. Feeling super cocky, Dale asks if the deal stands. His dad laughs, asking how long he has played. Dale coolly claims he found an old library book years ago and kept studying it. Total lie, just a super convenient excuse. The Duke stands up. A deal is a deal. He officially hands Dale command of the Knight Squad for the massive upcoming battle. But he drops a heavy warning: Saxon honor is on the line, so losing is impossible. Staring him down, he asks if Dale can really handle this massive burden. Dale does not even blink, just asks for trust. His dad agrees, hyped to see his training pay off. Meanwhile, over at Malbert Castle, the Grand Duke Brandenburg is literally seething with tension. Brandenburg chats with Philip about wild rumors that the Saxon heir is leading the charge. Totally confused. He wonders what that drunk, irresponsible kid is thinking. Philip laughs it off, saying the enemy is basically a joke. Begging to totally crush this arrogant kid, but Brandenburg slams the table, completely shutting him up. Absolutely furious, he screams that Philip is underestimating a literal monster. That kid is a beast. Someone his own son could not beat in 10 years, let alone 100. Raging, he calls Philip totally useless, regretting ignoring Charlotte earlier. Still, he makes Philip the fake commander for the battle. In reality, the real boss pulling the strings is Deputy Lord Milvas. Philip is just a fancy mascot. The Duke orders Milvas to keep his kid perfectly safe. Deep down, Brandenburg knows he cannot bully a kid publicly, and starts freaking out that Duke Saxon planned this insane trap all along. Back home, Dale and Helmut celebrate the massive win. Days later, Greenbelt Castle's huge gates finally swing open. The nervous Baron watches heavy armor roll in. And trust me, you're going to want to see this young commander's epic arrival. Alright, let's dive right in. Half the room is totally shocked by this kid, doubting he can even swing a sword. The Baron tries faking it, saying Dale's backup is a huge relief. But deep down, the dude is sweating bullets. Handing the entire cavalry over to a literal 10-year-old feels insanely reckless. Hoping to stall, the Baron suggests grabbing some food at a banquet first. Yeah, hard pass. Dale shuts that down instantly, saying there's zero time to waste, completely blindsiding the host. Skipping the small talk, the kid literally points his blade right at the Baron's throat. He announces he is inspecting the troops right now, dropping one extremely heavy question. Who's the absolute strongest guy in the room? A red-haired warrior totally interrupts, hyping himself up as the peak fighter around. Rocking a huge face scar, This guy arrogantly brags that the person who can beat him literally hasn't been born yet. But honestly, the kid's chill vibe is seriously freaking him out. Dale just glares right back at him. Meanwhile, the Baron breathes a massive sigh of relief as that deadly blade finally leaves his throat. Our boy reads the room instantly. Everyone here thinks he's a joke, and honestly, you can't blame them. They just handed a massive war to a 10-year-old. Without blinking, he slams his sword into the floor, declaring the disrespect goes both ways. If they doubt his skills, he totally doubts the Baron's entire army, and the only way to settle this beef, a classic duel. He flashes a freezing smirk and points out the hilarious truth. Their so-called strongest knight is literally drunk. That alone proves this army is pure trash. Absolutely raging, the red-haired warrior whips out his sword. He points the sharp edge straight at Dale and, voice shaking with anger, introduces himself as Hayberk. He bets his knightly honor to prove his squad's power. Dale just keeps grinning as the tension skyrockets off the charts. Dale casually asks if Hayberk recognizes his weapon. The redhead snaps back that he knows exactly how famous that weird blade is. Now watch closely, things get crazy right here. Wondering if the kid is bluffing, Hayberk doesn't even wait to find out and charges at full speed. He swings with absolutely everything he's got, but boom, Dale blocks it bare-handed, using pure magic. The crazy impact doesn't even make our young mage flinch. Only Hayberk stumbles. One casual push and the attack is totally cancelled out. Dale analyzes him. No aura on the sword means this guy isn't even high tier. Still, he figures he should at least respect the effort. Instantly, a glowing magic circle flares up right in the palm of his left hand. Hayberk totally panics as dark energy erupts from the dirt, rushing him insanely fast. He frantically swings his sword trying to slice the creeping shadows. But the attacks do absolutely zero damage. The pressure is crushing him, shattering his focus. Meanwhile, Dale casually holds the spell, just watching the struggle. This guy is way weaker than he hyped himself up to be. Then, bam, even Dale is stunned as Hayberk screams in agony and completely faceplants, defeated. It is over in a flash. Honestly, it is mind-blowing that the so-called strongest fighter in the whole region got wrecked in literal seconds. The Baron is completely freaking out. He screams at Dale, asking how he could knock out their heavy hitter right before a massive war. Dale steps up and coldly claps back. With garbage skills like that, House Saxon will just have to solo the entire battle themselves. He says it is super messed up for the Baron to chill safely while others die for him. If that clown was their best knight, they are doomed. House Saxon always protects its loyal followers, but being lazy is totally unacceptable. Everyone has to pull their weight. He then announces that until the fighting starts, his elite squad will act as their absolute sword. So they need to choose right now, follow his lead, or lose absolutely everything in this upcoming war. You saw that coming, right? One by one, the soldiers kneel, swearing absolute loyalty to the young commander. Sometime later, night finally falls. Helena lays there totally stressed out, while the Duke gently strokes her cheek to calm her down. He promises their boy is way more incredible than he looks, and that his future is going to be wildly legendary. Flashing a super chill smile, the Duke fully backs his kid. He fully believes the boy is destined to rule the whole world. Back in his room, Dale realizes he used to be completely stuck in his own bubble. Now, he sees the big picture. He even suspects the sacred swordsman totally knew this territory was a mess, and picking this barony was a master plan. Next morning, the sun is blazing up above. Hayberk shows up absolutely crushed, dragging a massive boulder on his back like an absolute pack mule. Crying to stop, another guard instantly roasts his weakness, barking at him to keep moving. Far away, Dale just silently watches the whole show. He spots that the redhead is already dying on day one. It is going to take some insane grinding to level up these Greenbelt barony knights. Plus, he realizes he has to send an envoy straight to the Pucker barony to spark up some serious negotiations. This isn't about surrendering like cowards, but before the real bloodbath starts, there is one person he must see. Time skips forward. We cut to the tense border zone between the two lands. A massive wooden table sits dead center in the camp. Dale claims the boss seat, looking ice-cold as he analyzes everything. In his brain, he is playing chess, knowing an unavoidable clash is happening in just weeks. The St. Madalena Order is way off on a continental mission. With tight supplies and a huge risk of an ambush, things are looking super dicey. Plus, Baron Parker has a cavalry you definitely cannot sleep on. A scout finally announces young Master Philip is here. Dale totally saw this coming. He knew exactly who they would play. Philip struts in acting tough, but he's a fake boss. The real mastermind Milvas walks silently right beside him. As the smug noble sits, Dale drops a greeting. Philip just smirks like a jerk, sticking his hand out to heavily mock him. Asking if they are terrified of a real war, Dale stays absolutely stone-faced. Skipping the trash talk, he asks why they even agreed to meet. But before Philip can speak, Dale totally shuts him down. He isn't talking to the fake boss. Trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. Let's dive right into the madness. He stares down Milvas, the actual commander in charge here. The room gets insanely awkward, but Dale absolutely refuses to back down. He basically says a legendary swordsman would never hand a war over to a total rookie. Milvas scrambles to keep the peace, begging Philip to not lose his cool. But something is seriously bugging him. Like, how does the enemy know the Count totally despises his own kid? Yet Dale just dropped that bomb without blinking. Milvas instantly calls the meeting off completely. Philip absolutely bashes the table, demanding they wrap this up fast. But Dale pushes harder. He asks if Philip needs a babysitter's permission to speak, calling him an obedient pet. He jokes that the real boss here is actually Milvas. It is basically like the family dog just slapped a leash on its own owner. The knight tries jumping in again, but everyone is already raging. Dale just sits there, loving the chaos. He kicks his feet up, leans back, completely relaxed and totally chilled out. He keeps poking the bear, totally eating up all the drama he just created. Then, boom, he drops his real plan. He never actually wanted peace. This whole thing was just a big brain play to wreck their command structure. Dale waves Bale over and politely asks Milvas to leave. The long-haired dude walks out. Smiling like a total bro, Dale suggests a private chat. After all, they are the top dogs running this massive war. It totally makes sense to hash things out face to face. Philip is visibly fuming right now. Trying to act tough, the blonde totally falls for the bait. He orders Milvas out immediately. The knight begs him to reconsider, but Philip completely refuses to listen. Now pay attention here. Deep down, he totally knows he just walked right into Dale's trap. Left with zero options, Milvas finally steps out. Now trapped alone with his raging enemy, Dale claims he only wanted to talk because he has a totally unbeatable offer. The deal is simple. If the Holy Knights of St. Madonna pack up and go home right now, the Saxon family will totally cover all their road trip snacks. Philip snaps and smashes the desk. He calls that a complete garbage deal, not a real negotiation. Dale gives a totally fake apology. But he repeats it. If they do not retreat, they get wiped out, dragging the holy swordsman and the young master's pristine name through the dirt. He adds this might be Philip's last shot to save face. Philip snaps, realizing Milvas was right. This brat was just trolling him all along. Dale smirks super hard. He says it is a massive shame the dude feels that way, because this really was his final lifeline. Because whoever catches this brutal defeat today definitely won't be Milvas at all. It is going to be the Count's totally useless and completely incompetent son. Philip flashes a super creepy smile, acting totally unfazed. He says Dale's annoying days are seriously numbered. Dale just grins back, hoping the blonde keeps that goofy confidence going strong. A little time passes after that total train wreck of a meeting. Back over in Baron Greenbelt's territory. Philip checks in with his squad about the enemy moves. One reports the Saxon Knights are rolling out. Philip thinks back to Dale's super intense stare. Even as a literal kid, he definitely did not look like a rookie. But hey, there is the golden ticket. Since Dale is still 10 years old, Philip figures he can just squash the problem right now. Absolutely hyped up, he orders his guys to go teach this brat a permanent lesson. Meanwhile, Dale gets the heads up that enemies are pushing north. Dale grips his sword, raises his arm, and hypes his squad up, yelling that the epic moment is finally here. Today, they show everyone why they deserve their legendary name. The battle kicks off. A soldier blasts the horn, and both massive armies rush in at the exact same time. You and I both know this is about to get crazy. Guys charging from literally everywhere. The field explodes with screaming and clashing steel immediately. The blonde watches the absolute chaos and sends his first cavalry in. The main goal, stop the Night Raven squad and the Saxon family forces cold. But his guys have no idea how insanely overpowered they are. So, he safely hides himself right in the middle, way behind the front lines. Baron Parker's flankers push left to totally lock down Greenbelt's horses, while Brandenburg's elite squad sets up a brutal sneak attack straight at the enemy's core. It is a super risky play, but morale is absolutely peaking. Nobody is letting this epic chance slip by today. Melvin knows this is crazy dangerous. The enemy is fighting insanely hard for the count, and the total mess on the battlefield proves it. Then, right in the middle of the madness, boom. Someone steps up to the front, and guys back away in pure shock, not fear. Young Master Dale just walked right onto the active battlefield himself. His voice completely cuts through the chaos, screaming for everyone to hold the line and fight for the Saxons. Seeing him out there like a boss, his squad's hype level goes totally through the roof instantly. Dale wants to end this fast by making himself the ultimate bait, but Philip does not even care. This is exactly what the blonde guy wanted. Throwing his hand up, he screams for St. Madonna, and his guys charge in with absolutely insane energy. Meanwhile, Dale's crew pushes right back just as hard, yelling to protect the boss. The two sides violently smash together, and wild magic blasts light up the zone. Philip finally moves. A fast war needs totally fast action. He leads the first cavalry straight in. The goal is simple: crush the young master and end this whole thing. Looking completely unhinged and angry, he screams that today finally proves the elite squad's true power. Moving like an absolute killer, he charges headfirst across the bloody battlefield. His attacks are insane, dropping enemies one by one. Suddenly, a guy holding a spear lunges forward. The blade gets insanely close to the blonde's neck, but he barely parries it, totally slashing the dude before the hit even connects. He keeps pushing, totally fueled by pure rage, but suddenly he feels completely exhausted. And what do you and I make of this weird feeling? Trust me, you want more. Alright, stick with me here. You and I are about to see how a real mastermind completely flips a battlefield upside down. The Black Cavalry is falling back way too fast. Something feels totally off. Suddenly, a messenger sprints up with massive news. Baron Parker's left flank is getting absolutely crushed. Zero chance to fight back. Guys are dropping like flies everywhere because Greenbelt's troops are straight up spamming aura. The defensive lines are completely shattering. The troops are begging for orders, but their commander just freezes up in panic. Dale's savage insult about him being an incompetent heir is playing on loop in his head. Then, another scout brings a backup plan. Move the central and rear cavalry to save the left side. The blonde guy's reaction: he just snaps and tells everyone to shut up. Instead of helping, he snags the rear cavalry for himself with a totally crazy goal. He wants to blitz right through the right flank and just snipe the young enemy commander directly. Here's the kicker: Dale is already leading his own guys out there. Sending in more troops now would totally wreck their mobility. Plus, the left flank is getting weaker by the second. But whatever, his mind is made up. Totally obsessed with getting a win, the blonde ignores all the SOS calls. The enemy starts boxing them in. Messengers beg to retreat, but the dude says nothing. He thinks it's not the right time yet. Then he turns around and spots the mastermind. Dale is just sitting there staring, looking like he already won the whole game. That smug look makes Philip absolutely lose his mind. He raises his sword, rallying his guys. His confused troops are practically screaming for real orders. Philip just shuts his eyes and starts praying out loud to St. Madonna for a miracle. He begs the sister goddesses for divine protection and an epic victory, but when he opens his eyes, nothing but pure, toxic hatred. Watch closely, because this is where it gets wild. He decides to bet everything on smashing the lines and claiming the young general's head. Screaming at the top of his lungs, he orders a full charge, swords out, riding straight at Dale. Honestly, exactly what our boy wanted. The blonde squad tries to flank from behind and lock them in. Dale doesn't even sweat. He knows panic ruins good decision-making. And right now, Dale is completely chill. With a super cocky smirk, he asks if these guys have seriously never seen magic before. Boom, he fires a wicked ice arrow that snipes a horse right out of the air. The beast drops instantly, slamming the rider face first into the dirt. The blonde dude's eyes practically pop out. Nailing a fast-moving target with that kind of crazy sniper precision is next-level stuff. Then Dale drops the next order. A massive wall of solid ice erupts from the ground, totally shutting down their charge. The enemy troops just freeze up in shock. Before they can even blink, Dale yells his next command, "Advance." His squad charges in like absolute beasts, screaming they'll die to protect their young master. The blonde's front line just crumbles, guys getting wiped out left and right. The blonde commander clutches his head in total despair. He finally realizes he got played and walked right into a massive trap. Dale never planned to one-shot him. The real big brain move was to isolate and break their formation, and Philip fell for it. His entire front line is a total mess now. Out of options and desperate, he decides to just go all in. If he can push through, maybe he can clutch a win. Screaming, he shatters the ice wall and actually makes it to Dale. Sword raised, ready to finish this whole thing with one swing. You and I both knew this trap would work, right? A huge crash, then dead silence. The dust clears, and the mighty blonde knight is literally forced to his knees. Game over, Dale owns this battlefield now. That whole arrogant idea that Aura Knights are unbeatable, totally busted. Their biggest flex just became their worst weakness. Dale already read their entire playbook from the start. He memorized all these tactics in his past life. Meanwhile, a terrified scout runs up, gasping for air. The left side is totally gone and Baron Parker got captured. The blonde is having an existential crisis, asking if Dale planned this. Dale just smiles. Dale tells him nobody can predict a whole war, but digging your own grave, that was a choice. Then he drops the ultimatum. Anyone who wants to live can beg and pay a ransom. The enemy knights flip out, saying they would rather die than surrender. Snap, Dale just clicks his fingers and boom, a spear impales a complaining knight right through the heart. Point taken. Dale stares down the blonde commander. What's it gonna be? 10 seconds of incredibly heavy silence pass, then very slowly. The guy bows his head. He totally accepts the loss, swallowing every single ounce of his knightly pride. He claims he's fine dying, but warns his guys that this kid is a literal monster. Screaming at the top of his lungs, he orders everyone to kneel. Even while giving up, he demands fair VIP prisoner treatment under Imperial rules. Dale just looks at his enemy begging in the dirt. Trash talk isn't even needed anymore. A savage little smirk creeps onto Dale's face as he delivers the sentence. Nope, nobody survives today. With the most innocent look ever, he orders a total wipeout. Even his own guys are absolutely stunned. Usually you spare captured nobles for a fat bag of gold, but Dale's voice is stone cold. No debates. No second chances for anyone. His word is absolute law on this battlefield, and one specific guy is about to get completely obliterated right now. Furious, the blonde realizes begging is useless. He jumps up for one last desperate attack, but he's way too slow. A blade shreds his stomach instantly. So what do you and I learn here? Never mess with a reincarnated genius. Dale just whispers his final words. All right, stick with me here. Dale asks Lord Milvas a freezing cold question. Do you remember my death? That horrific night flashes vividly through his mind. A brutal blade shoved right through a kid's back. And this guy, he just stood there, watching the imprisoned hero die in total silence. Gripping his enemy's head, Dale asks it again. The blonde guy looks absolutely terrified. Yeah, he definitely remembers, but before reacting. Dark energy completely swallows them both up. He realizes way too late that this kid shouldn't be breathing. The intense darkness locks him in place. And his body gets totally hijacked with zero chance to fight back. Rocking an insanely ironic smirk, the final answer drops. Just one word, yes. Dale takes a deep breath. He feels this massive wave of relief he hasn't felt in forever. Meanwhile, across the blood-soaked battlefield, the blonde commander watches his guys dropping fast. Total shock takes over his face, and by the time it finally clicks, the battle is already lost. Right flank, completely crushed. Sir Milvas and his Aura Knights are totally wiped out. Left flank broke ages ago. Now, the heavy black cavalry surrounds their main forces. Only one terrifying image haunts the defeated commander, the kid's mocking grin. A panicked soldier begs for orders, but pride wins. In pure denial, the blonde screams that they are not losing today. He orders everyone to fight till the bitter end, refusing to let his knights kneel down. His guys freeze. Charging forward means instant, brutal annihilation. Still, his hateful shout leaves no choice. Literally nobody disobeys the top boss here. But absolute chaos takes over the field. An enemy ambushes them, and the blonde frantically shrieks for backup. Honestly, Philip absolutely refuses to die here. He wanted something different. The sky turns a fiery orange as the slaughter wraps up. Dale's soldiers celebrate wildly. From start to finish, everything played out to the young master's genius plan. Tied up, Philip thrashes and screams while our winner just stares. Dale sees it loud and clear. This dude simply won't accept surrender. Even beaten, Philip stubbornly insists they lost the fight. But they aren't broken. He arrogantly spits out that trying to survive off others was his literal job as commander. Then, he grabs his weapon. Now pay close attention here. This is where he gets desperate. Philip actually challenges our guy to a duel to decide everything. One soldier calls out the absolute nonsense, but Dale waves him off and accepts with a wicked smile. The blonde immediately yanks his sword out early. Before the match even kicks off, he lunges forward aiming for a cheap shot. He fully expected his rival to take the bait. He raises his blade, screaming at his opponent to die. Yeah, not even close. Dark energy erupts from the dirt, blocking him instantly. Philip's arrogant expression shifts straight into pure, absolute horror. He collapses hard and violently writhes around. Screaming and begging for someone to save him, Dale just watches with zero empathy, only disgust. This massive war literally ends with a coward's pathetic wailing. A little while later, epic trumpets blast. Young Master Dale makes his grand victorious return. The locals are mind-blown, gossiping that this kid completely wiped out the St. Magdalena Order. But hey, not everyone in town is cheering today. Some creepy hooded guy steps up, saying there is nothing to celebrate. Tons of lives dropped, and the man upstairs definitely didn't want this bloodbath. Plot twist, it's Cardinal Nikolai from the Sistina Goddess Church. He drops a heavy warning that this kid might just slice up his own allies next. Our MC walks up to a massive door with bail. Suddenly, a super sweet voice yells out for her big brother. It's Lisa, looking so grown up. You and I really needed this wholesome vibe. They hug warmly and he smiles, asking if she missed him. Right after, Helmut slides in to hype up his epic first victory. Holding Lisa's hand, Dale finally steps into the main hall. All his favorite people are waiting. Master Safia, Charlotte, and standing proud by the altar, his parents looking absolutely thrilled for him. Hand right over his chest, our guy officially gives his combat report to the Duke. Alan is beaming with pure satisfaction. Calling the battle a flawless victory, and thanking Bale for guiding the heir. Helena smiles sweetly, telling her exhausted son to just go rest up first. Dale thanks her, his face literally glowing with joy. It had been way too long, but man, this place finally felt like a real home. Meanwhile, miles away, total chaos. Brandenburg is practically shaking with rage. Battered survivors stumble in, and the Count aggressively demands answers. Where on earth is Philip? The tense reply hits hard, Milvas is dead. The St. Madalena Order, completely destroyed. Troops got captured, and they're demanding a truly outrageous ransom. The Count snaps, asking if they seriously just got crushed and ran away like cowards. If so, they better prepare for some extreme consequences. Without blinking, he orders them locked in the cellar to beg for death. That insane clash officially goes down as the Black and White War. Rumors spread like crazy. Everyone starts calling him the ruthless young Black Master with zero mercy. Fast forward a bit, and our kid hits age 11. At his massive official birthday bash, he's crowned Viscount of the Saxon Duchy. His eyes go super wide. This title isn't just for show. A Viscount holds serious power for the Lord. Beyond hyped, Dale says thanks. But then he gets totally serious because he has a goal. As the Duke's direct proxy, he drops a massive new decision on them. People are still gossiping about his brutal battlefield tactics. Apparently, some holy knights of the Goddess Church ended up falling victim to his crazy cruelty. Obviously, the church is gonna throw an absolute fit over this. So, he wants to take a pilgrimage straight into the Sistina papal territory. Time to face his wild reputation head-on. Trust me, you'll love what happens next. The Duke hears his kid's pitch with a total poker face, giving zero hints. He just does not get it. Fear is top-tier leverage, crazy hard to replace. Yet the boy actually wants to toss it to keep the church happy, but our guy stays chill. He says there is a power totally worth that risk. Alan asks if there is some hidden motive here. Stick with me, guys, because there totally is. He is about to make an offer they cannot refuse to score forbidden grimoires. A few days back, while sleeping, our boy sensed something was way off. Buried memories were literally clawing their way right back up to the surface. Bam! A massive skull popped right up, glaring him down. Did he remember exactly how they died? Instantly, brutal pain ripped through his body, and words blasted in his head. He woke up gasping for air, clutching his chest in total shock. That was no basic nightmare. It was way darker, locked deep in his mind, and it broke free the second he hit the third magic circle tier. But he did not find control in there, just pure loneliness. Our boy realized he was still weak. He needed way more raw power and control. Like a knight needs a top-tier sword, a pro mage needs a grimoire. Fast forward, their carriage is traveling way out from the kingdom. Crossing from Barony Greenbelt to Barony Parker marks the total end of the Northern Empire. And after losing the war, the fallen Baron literally had one career path left: straight-up banditry. Out of nowhere, arrows slice the air. They barely miss the totally spooked, panicking horses. Armed thugs block the dirt road, aggressively asking what they are doing. Apparently, coughing up a heavy toll to cross noble land is just basic common sense. Our MC does not even flinch. He already prepped a fat bag of cash just for this. One dude smirks, tossing the bag to check the weight. It is totally stuffed with gold, way too much for a basic toll. Happily, the bandits step aside. The carriage rolls out. The thugs crack up, thinking they hit the jackpot, already plotting something much sketchier, but the peace does not last. But hold up, watch closely. A voice shouts from above. The arrogant Baron drops in, demanding to know how they dare cross his turf without paying up. Bale stays super calm. He points out they literally just paid his guys, and double charging is straight up against the law. The surrounding thugs act completely clueless. They swear they have never seen our boys before in their entire miserable lives. And that the travelers are the real criminals here. The Baron threatens that if they want to live, they better hand over every single shiny coin. One soldier brags way too hard. He says they are facing the legendary hero who survived the Black and White War, the epic turning point hero. The carriage slows to a stop. Inside, our boy cracks up laughing, pulling his dark hood back. He stares the Baron dead in the eye, asking if this joke is actually the so-called hero. The noble squints, and his eyes practically bulge out in absolute panic when he recognizes him. Bale ditches his hood too, and suddenly everyone gets it. These guys are absolutely no joke. The Baron breathes super hard, trying desperately to keep his cool. It is just two guys. He can totally still win this fight. Faking confidence, he desperately signals his archers to aim. Bale stands totally ready, waiting for the word. Our chilled-out MC just says the little performance ends right here. The Baron angrily points and screams attack. Arrows fly at crazy speeds. The MC just stands perfectly still, eyes totally locked on the deadly shots closing in. Then the swordsman pops off, parrying every single arrow with insane precision, gripping his sword tight. He promises to execute the order perfectly. The archers totally freeze, minds blown by what they just witnessed, but there is zero time to react. The bodyguard charges, landing a super clean slice on an arm. He goes absolute beast mode, fighting everyone completely solo. The Baron watches the massacre, entirely useless. All his tough guy confidence, gone. As the kid steps right up, the Baron totally breaks. He drops to his knees, crying and begging for mercy. Our MC just glares down at him. Ice cold, he asks why he should even do that. And so the kid continues his epic road trip. Dodging shady nobles, trashed knights, and bandits all across the map. A few weeks later, their small boat cruises over perfectly calm waters. With his awesome bodyguard beside him, he finally hits his destination, the holy papal zone of Sistina, the massive constellation city of Quest. He stares at the city with total disgust. He calls it a pilgrimage, but you and I both know this is no innocent little visit. It is a judgment. The duo strolls right up to the front gates, blocked by some heavily armed tanks, stopping before the massive doors. The MC locks in with a totally deadpan stare. Inside, the main hall is absolutely crazy. Glowing stained glass throws off insane divine vibes, while creepy, massive statues watch in pure silence. Waiting right in the middle is the big boss himself, His Eminence Cardinal Nikolai. A Tier 6 white mage, one of the elite 12 clerics running the very top of the church, looking completely unbothered and super chill. The boss man says he heard all about the massive battle casualties. He calls the tragic sacrifice of the Santa Magdalena brothers an absolute shame. Our kid plays along, saying he feels super bad about it too. His totally sloppy call cost way more than it should have. And that is exactly why he hid his VIP status, to come on this personal apology tour. He genuinely hopes the goddess feels his serious redemption vibes. The cardinal studies the kid closely. It totally checks out. War trauma is super heavy, especially for a literal 11-year-old boy. Honestly, that just makes manipulating him so much simpler. Using his best soothing voice, the guy claims the goddess forgives everyone. There is literally no sin in this world that cannot be completely wiped away. The kid goes dead silent for a second. Then Dale asks again, "Is that actually true? Really no unforgivable sins at all?" The cleric agrees instantly. The boy asks, "Is that why you sold the country to the Empire? Trust me, you and I are going to love what happens next." Alright, let's dive into this wild standoff. Silence drops like a literal blade. The cardinal nervously laughs it off, but our boy isn't budging. Dale exposes the dirty truth. Before the Empire took over, 12 cardinals tried selling out the old pope. Nikolai was there, but the pope absolutely refused the corrupt deal. The result, complete betrayal. The pope was eliminated, with the White Tower and his own cardinals stabbing his back. Tossed straight to the Empire's hunting dogs, Dale drops the mic. He coldly asks if that massive sin is forgiven. The cardinal's face twists, grinding his teeth. So much for holy peace. Furious, the cardinal snaps back. How dare this kid come begging for redemption, spit forbidden truths, and still expect mercy? Absolute nonsense, right? But our main character stands his ground. He firmly claps back that he didn't come here to play judge. He just wants a little hush money, the price for his silence. Taking out the Duke's rep wouldn't solve anything, though secretly, Dale knows that's a bluff. The Duke has zero clue what's going down. Weighing his awful options, the cardinal finally shuts his eyes. Glowing energy flares up, making the air incredibly heavy. Regaining his cool, he demands to know what Dale wants. Without hesitation, our MC answers. He wants access to the secret underground library beneath the palace. You know, the vault where the church locks away their absolutely forbidden books. The infamous Hell Library. It holds the most dangerous, overpowered magic tome in existence, the legendary Book of the Black Goat. Lighting up the pitch-black stairs, Dale heads down. Every single footstep echoes in the crushing silence. They hammered out the rules before he took the plunge. Rule 1, he goes in and out alone. Rule 2, the church stays out of his business. Rule 3, he only gets to snatch one single grimoire. The catch, he swears to keep the church's dirty secrets forever. Dale agreed instantly, swearing an unbreakable oath as the heir of the Black Duke. They shook on it. Pure white magic swirled around their hands, basically looking like a literal god was stamping the official paperwork. The cardinal put both their hearts on the line as collateral. They locked it in using Gaius, the ultimate contract magic from the White Tower. Watch closely, this is where the stakes hit the ceiling. Break the deal and your heart physically explodes. Pact sealed, no refunds. Dale walks the lonely path until he reaches the literal gates of hell. The carving says abandon all hope. Totally unfazed, he just slaps his hand on the door. The massive gate opens by itself, reacting to his dark aura. Dale is officially curious now. Makes sense why they call this place literal hell. This isn't some dusty old library. It's a massive, crazy dungeon. And those forbidden books, they're basically ticking time bombs of pure disaster. To a mage, a grimoire is your main weapon, like a knight's sword. Gotta find the best gear, right? Suddenly, he runs straight into the vault guardians. Literal flesh golems made from stitched-up bodies. Talk about ironic. These holy light preachers have zero issues playing with corpses when they need extra muscle. The guardians suddenly rush him. Dale doesn't blink. He blasts them all back with pure magic and keeps moving. Down here, zero witnesses. He can drop the disguise, flex his full power, and just let loose. Without flinching, he slices his own hand with a dagger. Blood drips down, kicking off the ritual. Voice rock steady, Dale shouts out his name and dark bloodline. He's calling out something ancient right on the dungeon floor. He summons the Black Goat of the forest, demanding it honor its old contract with the Dark Clan. The dungeon goes crazy. A creepy, distorted voice echoes out, drooling over his incredibly overpowered blood, calling him a true mage and accepting the summon. But wait, another freaky voice cuts in. Then another. Multiple dark entities just crash the party all at once. You and I both know what happens when demons smell power. They fight for it. The room warps into a suffocating nightmare, and a hooded figure steps up. This shadow guy offers a sweet deal, promising to absolutely obliterate every enemy and throw a literal death festival for anyone in Dale's way. Checking out this twisted dimension, Dale realizes what's up. He just got pulled into the mental mindscape of the Book of Massacre. An evil spellbook built on thousands of dead bodies, packed with nasty, unlimited dark magic. But does our guy flinch? Not even a little bit. He coldly tells the creature to step aside. It's just not what he wants. The entity absolutely rages at being rejected like that. Dale just smirks, zero fear. He drops a hard truth: he's not the one locked in here with them. His own insanely dense aura explodes outward. It's just a fake world inside a book, and his mind is way stronger. The whole background gets eaten by a terrifying purple void, heavy, oppressive, like a traumatized mind. The creature panics hard. It literally cannot understand how some random kid is completely overpowering its mindscape. Dale drops the coldest line. The body count from this supposedly evil book doesn't even come close to the horrors he has personally witnessed. We're talking whole cities destroyed. The entity freaks out and throws a desperate final attack, refusing to get eaten. But man, it's way too late. Its shadowy body crumbles into pixels, piece by piece, until nothing's left. The mental illusion shatters. Back in reality, the floor is still dripping with ritual blood. But the walls are glitching, like the space is caving in. Suddenly, a sweet voice echoes. A girl with long hair and goat horns appears, calling him brother. Dale turns around. She walks up smiling, saying it's so nice to meet him. She's been trapped alone forever and hits him with that creepy head tilt, asking if he wants to play. Dale just stares. He knows exactly who she is. This grimoire was forged by the immortal Duke Frederick. The Duke literally sacrificed his own daughter to cheat death. That's why this cursed book looks like a kid, but make no mistake, she is definitely not human. Skipping the small talk, he drops his offer. He wants a contract with her. She's down, but throws in one condition. She wants to see his world first. Dale agrees. Bam, they teleport straight to his inner mindscape. And that's where we leave it. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. Stick with me here. She totally loves this spot, and her new brother even more. But wait, something suddenly catches her eye. There are other folks here, totally shaking, including Cardinal Nikolai. Their faces say it all. Nobody actually believed our guy could snag that grimoire. Our main character stares down the holy man, asking what he is doing here. After all, the church swore they had zero responsibility. Smirking, our boy realizes the dude couldn't even trust his own deal. Coming here in person to wipe him out. Yeah, huge mistake. Super brave. This is the dark world, the literal worst place for a light user to fight. The horned girl curiously asks to eat them. Our guy just shoots her a cold look. If she gets sick, totally not his problem. The little demon smiles, totally hyped. Finally, a real epic feast after rotting inside that icy void. Nikolai starts praying frantically to the Holy Trinity. Blinding light erupts behind him, and an actual angel drops right onto the literal battlefield. His soldiers follow up, screaming prayers. Their backs rip open with light, wings bursting out. They morph into divine angels. He just watches, knowing this would not be easy. Suddenly, the winged freaks rush him at absolute insane speeds. He pushes his limits, dodging strike after strike. Pure danger grazes his skin, and a glowing blade almost takes his head clean off. He fires back instantly with dark magic blasts, but these holy creatures dodge with totally terrifying precision. Watch closely, because here is where it gets wild. Nikolai raises his crucifix, mocking the kid's level, saying his weak hands cannot unlock that grimoire. Sacred light explodes around the cardinal, channeling raw divinity right there. The horned girl violently claps her hands tight over her ears. That holy energy hits hard, but something snaps inside her. She looks absolutely furious, not hurt. Heavy, violent dark magic leaks out, totally warping her shape as wild tentacles erupt. The angels charge in, slicing through it seamlessly. An angel teleports right to her face, declaring judgment time, but the very next second, everything goes horribly wrong. Those tentacles instantly heal and smack the angels away with brutal force. Nikolai stares, completely panicking. He yells out, asking if his squad is alive. A creepy, distorted voice echoes, demanding praise. The angels start glitching out, faces warping, veins bulging. Their bodies shake violently, like something is eating them from the inside. That holy light mixes with pure evil. It gets super disturbing. The angels literally warp right in front of everyone, twisting into absolute nightmarish monsters. The horned girl just watches and giggles like a kid. She says she missed that scent so much, waited forever, and will savor every single second. Her tentacles lash out mercilessly, shredding the winged beasts. This monster could actually eat real angels for breakfast. You and I both know this now. The kid who summoned her, no normal 11-year-old prodigy. He is practically the devil's own son. Dale watches calmly, remembering Nikolai's own rule: nobody takes responsibility for hell. Completely trapped, the cardinal breaks down crying. Voice shaking, he begs for mercy. Dale strolls up, sizing him up, asking what he will trade. Sweating bullets, Nikolai offers it all: cash, status, church power. Literally anything to just stay alive. A slick smile hits our boy's face. Loving the sound of that, he reaches out, looking surprisingly gentle. He tells the dude to hand over everything. Time to rewrite the contract. That binding magic is no ordinary pact. Nikolai is officially past the point of no return. The horned girl calls out to Dale, smiling super creepily. She says playing together was a blast, loves her new bro and will wait for him. Stepping closer. Looking completely graceful yet deadly, she asks if he is scared of her. Dale says no, but secretly knows this power is way too dangerous. It is an unmastered power he cannot use recklessly. Her tentacles hug him, asking to play again. He says yeah, getting a massive smile out of her. He promises they will meet up soon. Then they can play forever. The void melts away, shifting back to the cold library walls. Before vanishing, she promises to wait. Hell's chaos ends. Now, the Saxon family heir gets a massive official pardon from Cardinal Nikolai. To show off this epic new church and duchy alliance, they throw a massive, totally unprecedented celebration ceremony. Heading back, our boy is not some random nobody anymore. Nobody dares block the young Dark Master's path. Fast forward a few months. Charlotte hits the training grounds. Helmut casually asks if she is ready to rumble, right then and there. Intense purple energy explodes from her body. Her aura gets insanely thick, wrapping around her as she hits peak focus. Her sword glows with deep violet dark magic, radiating some next-level power. The soldiers watching are absolutely losing their minds. Helmut smiles, totally impressed that someone this young can flex aura like that. Suddenly, a voice interrupts, calling out to Charlotte. Dale walks up, giving her a dead serious stare, asking by her lord's honor. Her family and everything she protects, does she swear her knightly duty? Without skipping a beat, she kneels, planting her sword. You and I are going to love this part. She swears it fully. Dale solemnly knights her, asking her to resist greed. All right, stick with me here. The blonde steps up, totally resolute, and swears her epic vow. In the Saxon family name, Dale officially dubs her Sir Charlotte. Walking together, he looks super thoughtful. He asks if she really thinks this crazy plan will work. Zero hesitation. She totally does. She chose the Saxon blade because that exact sword made him the awesome guy he is today. She ditched her rapier for a massive great sword by choice, ignoring the easy route. Dale definitely underestimated just how talented she is. Dale flips the script. Bad news is brewing. A massive orc army is grouping up past the Demon King's turf. Word is, the head war chief is leading them personally. His dad already called in the Northern Lords and the entire duchy. An all-out, insane war is basically starting. That is exactly why he needs her right beside him, acting as his actual knight, not just some ally. Charlotte nods back, totally serious. She swears to be his ultimate sword. Dale cracks a tiny smile, totally knowing she will be an absolute beast on the battlefield. Cut to the Duke looking super stressed. Huge orc movements are already marching straight down from the Darklands. A nervous spy asks if the great demonic migration is happening again. Another guy confirms it is super likely. That old invasion when the hero crushed the Demon King, just a tiny fraction. There are still tons of demons out there fighting tooth and nail. The Duke isn't playing around. He called up the Northern Lords, the Black Tower, and all his knights. We are talking about a war on a completely unprecedented, crazy scale. He gives his son a dead serious look. It is finally time to learn real battlefield necromancy. Later that day, they hit the underground workshop. The first necromancy lesson kicks off with a blunt question. What makes a Death Knight different from regular undead? Dale guesses it is like a pro knight versus a normal grunt. Alan shakes his head. Close but not quite. Raw strength is totally useless. The true game changer is mastering sword aura. Look at the dead knight on the floor. He dropped in the Black and White War, but swore his corpse would still serve the Saxon family. Snap, a crazy dark aura floods right into the body. It completely seeps in, waking up something that was deep asleep. Alan drops a major fact. High rank in life equals a way stronger death knight. He adds that all knights, alive or undead, still have massive pride. Dale cannot forget that. After the flex, the Duke tells his kid to follow him. Now watch closely, because what they find deeper down in this dark echoing dungeon is absolutely going to blow your mind. The vibe between them is super heavy but meaningful. Dale is honestly wondering how deep this place even goes. Alan shatters the quiet. He asks about the immortal Duke Frederick, the original Saxon founder. Dale instantly knows that legendary name. The dude's grimoire is basically hardwired into his brain, but Dale plays it cool, just saying he read up on him. Alan keeps talking. That guy was a literal monster. He tossed his own daughter aside just to grab more power. Zero hesitation. They step through this wild violet portal. Alan says only purebloods can enter. Inside is the super dark legacy from an ancient era. You and I saw that coming, right? Boom. A massive, completely silent army of black armored knights waiting there. Alan drops the truth bomb. The immortal Duke literally figured out how to run undead armies without spamming mana continuously. Every Saxon leader kept the project alive. They built this huge undead force called the Death Order, and Alan is keeping that dark legacy going right now. Dale grits his teeth. It all clicks. His dad preaching about proving your will and having crazy determination. The isolation, the total fear they cause, none of it is accidental. It is all fueled by power way too dark for normal society. His mind races for a second. The crazy contradiction makes him feel almost sick. The Duke points right at his undead army. He calls this their ultimate dark shield. Then, super calm, he asks if Dale is actually ready to take on this cursed power. Dale's heart is absolutely pounding in his chest, but he does not flinch. He says yes. He has been ready since day one. No matter how twisted the power is, he is taking it. Dale raises a hand, charging up his mana. This is not just basic magic, the focus is unreal. He takes over the corpse, and boom, it actually moves. It grabs a massive sword with both hands, locking into this super intense, solemn combat stance. Suddenly, the knight moves. The blade slices the air over and over with totally overwhelming, pinpoint force. Alan just watches silently. Then he admits Dale's mana control is completely absurd, refined to a totally insane level. Dale admits he still needs to constantly pump mana to control it, unlike the pros. The Duke totally agrees with him. He says it is way too early for advanced stuff. Right now, practical battlefield necromancy is the real goal. Suddenly, the training grounds shift. Heavy dark energy floods the room. Coffins start soaking it up like crazy. Suddenly, nasty goblin corpses pop right out. Twisted and angry, they charge Dale's knight. The fight is super short. One goblin instantly takes a brutally clean hit. The knight spins, wiping out every single enemy in one sweeping move. Total silence, complete victory. Honestly, Alan is internally shocked. Dale's knight is built different, outclassing even the Night Raven Knights. Later, Sephi watches him train with this totally different vibe. So where does that leave us? The elf is catching feelings, and trust me, you need to see what happens next. Stick with me here. His master saw right past that innocent kid act, spotting his freezing, dark world and his desperate craving for some real affection. She tries shaking off those heavy thoughts, while the kid absolutely demolishes his targets. Taking a deep breath, she decides to praise him, mentioning how much his water magic control has leveled up. Dale replies he promised his dad he'd become someone to be totally proud of, but honestly, he still seems completely unsettled. Sephi totally catches that vibe and asks what's wrong. Looking down with a bit of hesitation, the guy suddenly drops a totally unexpected question. He asks if she could still care about him after seeing his absolute worst side. He admits that eventually, he'll have to fully embrace his family's super dark legacy. He's terrified that when that time comes, his master will be totally disappointed in him. For a split second, heavy silence just fills the room. Then Sephia steps right up, cupping his face and forcing him to look her in the eyes. She doesn't blink. That one simple move sends his heart absolutely racing. Staring deeply at her student, Sephia reminds him that an elf's lifespan is crazy long, even when he grows up into a full adult man. She's probably going to look exactly the same. Her mind drifts for a second, flashing back to when rumors of Dale winning the Black and White War exploded across the Empire. People hyped up his crazy talent, but his super dark reputation spread too. Hearing that stuff, the elf just couldn't be happy. She never wanted her student walking some brutal, destructive path. Super gently, she promises to stick by his side until he finally gets her real feelings, and not just as some mentor, but as a woman standing beside her man. She makes it crystal clear, he isn't alone and he never will be. Letting go of his face, she steps back and awkwardly clears her throat to lighten up the heavy vibe. Changing her tone, she tries getting back to their lesson, but Dale is way too hooked to move on. Totally overwhelmed, he steps right up and pulls her into a super tight hug. Thanking her for everything, he completely spills his guts, confessing just how much he truly cares. With his voice cracking from emotion, he begs her to wait for him. Wrapped in that hug, he fully surrenders to a warmth that totally melts away his deepest inner freeze. Now watch closely, because after locking in that unforgettable promise, the vibe here completely flips. Colorful military banners are flying high everywhere. Gearing up for the massive demonic migration, all the northern lords are finally grouping up right in the Duke's main territory. A fully armored knight steps right up to the front, throwing a hand over his chest to show some serious respect. He introduces himself as Kenneth of Balderburg, a mid-tier lord serving under House Saxon, hauling 30 knights, 100 heavy troops, and 400 regular foot soldiers. Out of everyone showing up, these young nobles have total ambition burning in their eyes. They know exactly who they need to hype up the young heir. Bess, the confident oldest son of the Gale family, steps up saying he's totally ready to lay down his life and grab some battlefield glory right beside his lord. Meanwhile, young noble girls are totally pushing their way to the front, flashing cute smiles, and hyping Dale up, saying they never expected him to look so insanely mature and cool. But the whole vibe shifts when this purple-haired guy walks up, cutting straight to the chase. He claims he's heard about the heir's crazy strength and wants to see it himself. Right behind him, some gray-haired dude tries stepping in, calling the kid totally out of line and throwing out frantic apologies. But Dale just raises a hand, shutting him up. He already knows exactly who this is. Jans, the second son of Baron Kenneth. Looking dead serious, Dale repeats what he said, asking if this dude actually wants to test him. Jans replies respectfully, but absolutely refuses to back down an inch. He admits he knows all the epic rumors about Dale and never doubted his skills. Dale knows this isn't just some random grunt. This guy is literally the Empire's fighting genius. Smirking a little, he asks if Sir Jans really leads a squad of 100 mercs that he built entirely from scratch. The answer is a solid yes. Being a baron's second son, his fate in the family was basically a dead end from day one. Zero inheritance rights meant he had to prove his absolute worth with a blade. For Dale, this isn't just some random sparring match. It's an absolutely golden opportunity. Flashing a confident smile, he totally accepts the challenge. You and I can feel the vibe immediately switch. It's not just a skill check, it's a massive pre-war power play as they step back and Jans locks his stance. Dale totally chills, warning him that his blade is built different. The guy smirks, saying he already knows about the shadow sword. Then Dale barks the order, dead serious. He tells Jans to pop his aura and go all out, zero holding back, zero hesitation. It's an order the swordsman instantly accepts. A glowing purple aura wraps around Jans. Sure, he hasn't hit full aura knight tier yet, but his absolute basics are rock solid, and his footwork is insanely clean. Dale instantly catches onto that energy and decides to match his freak. Pure dark magic erupts right from the floor, snapping together to form an epic shadow sword. The whole room literally feels the vibe change. The pressure spikes, the air gets suffocatingly heavy, and Dale dares his opponent to bring absolutely everything he's got. Boom, the duel kicks off like literal lightning. Jans rushes in fast, his blade slashing through the air at absolute blinding speed. Slicing dangerously close to Dale's face, our guy dodges it by a single hair, his eyes locking onto every swing, but the combo doesn't stop. Super fast, crazy powerful, and totally fueled by pure willpower. Inside his head, Jans is hyper-focused on one thing. This rich kid had everything handed to him since day one. Sparks fly as swords clash. Completely desperate to prove that an underdog with nothing can wreck a guy who has everything, the purple-haired fighter just charges directly ahead. Gripping his blade with both hands for a brutal, direct smash right at Dale's face. He sees an opening, twists his body, and the sword flies at our main character. Jans swings with 100% of his power, but before he can even reset his stance, he's the one getting totally outplayed. Dale's blade stops inches from his nose. Zero damage taken. Instead, a massive shadow creeps across the floor, spawning pure darkness blades right out of nowhere. Dale just smirks, radiating that ultra-confident master plan energy. With a casual flick of the wrist, the dark blades launch forward, but Jans dodges with some insanely crisp agility, his purple aura still burning around him. So where does that leave us? Dale decides this guy is the perfect stepping stone to build his own legend. Time to drop some epic trash talk. He announces he is not moving an inch. Jans has to come to him. Eyes absolutely burning with hatred, the knight leaps forward, swearing this kid will regret underestimating him. Their swords clash again, and Dale blocks the heavy strike without giving an inch. All around them, the crowd watches this duel in dead silence. The shock is totally obvious. Stick with me here, because nobody expected this from an 11-year-old kid, but the eldest son of House Saxon is officially built different. Dale pushes forward and totally mocks him, daring Jans to dodge the next attack. A massive blast of dark energy flies at the knight, but he quickly realizes his opponent is not even aiming for a direct hit. He is just showing off for the Northern Lords and their kids. Completely insulted by this massive flex, Jans slashes right through the dark energy and charges in with everything he has got. Pouring every single ounce of strength into his strike, the purple-haired guy gives it his absolute all, simply because. Admitting that Dale is the living proof of how unfair life is was something he just could not face. But the second his blade snaps in half, the harsh truth hits him. Jans drops to his knees. He rests his broken blade on the dirt and totally hangs his head in pure defeat. Dale just stands there, lost in thought. Maybe he fought this insanely well thanks to the Black Goat book. During the clash, the whole world literally felt in slow motion. That shadow sword felt exactly like a part of his own body. The dark blades moved exactly like tentacles, under his total command. Beating Jans just made that crazy power-up totally obvious. Turning his aura into sharp shadow shards, Dale blasts them at his opponent, not to hurt him, but just to flex his control. Watch closely, because he glares at the crowd and asks if anybody else wants smoke. The response they get is absolutely wild. A sword stabs into the dirt right next to the kid. A knight bows with massive respect, swearing his total loyalty to the young lord out loud. Dale suddenly remembers his dad saying that fear guarantees loyalty. Looking at this crazy scene, the kid realizes it is straight facts. A little bit later, the party keeps going with nobles just drinking and chatting. Jans sneaks out of the hall with two buddies. While one chugs straight from the bottle, he points out that their friend is looking seriously messed up right now. Jans replies, sounding incredibly bummed out. No matter how hard he trains with his sword, he feels like he will never even touch the young lord's level. He always thought your worth was not locked in at birth, that hard work beats talent. But that whole mindset feels like a joke when he looks at the heir of House Saxon. Thinking about it just ticks him off, so he tells his buddies to drop it and drink up. The crew chills around a warm bonfire. Jans scoffs, complaining that the ladies inside were totally obsessing over an 11-year-old kid. Fancy nobles faking modesty just to score points with a literal child. Absolutely pathetic. Strip away the shiny titles and everyone is exactly the same. Then, flashing a super bitter smile. He jokes that Dale probably has zero clue what to do with all that female attention. Suddenly, he realizes his squad is not alone anymore. Dale is standing right there. The other guys jump up totally panicked, asking when the kid even sneaked up on them. With that casual boss energy, the young lord drops a seat by the fire like he owns the place. He grabs a bottle and tells Jans to pour him a drink. While the stunned guy pours, Dale asks if he totally hates the world. To the kid, life is ridiculously unfair because humans actually control zero things themselves. You saw that coming, right? From birth talent to where they grow up, absolutely everything is completely out of our control. Flashing a friendly smile, he pats Jans on the shoulder. He tells the guy to stop stressing, because nobody can rewrite their own destiny with just bare hands anyway. Jans hears this and just bursts out laughing uncontrollably. Finally, flashing an exhausted smile, he admits the overpowered young lord is probably right. That no matter how insanely hard he grinded, he never really stood a chance at all. Dale then drops a bomb, saying he actually likes the guy. Him and his whole mercenary crew. Then he casually asks if they want to swing their swords and actually get paid working for House Saxon. This massive offer leaves Jans totally speechless. Dale lays out the deal. His elite knight ravens can train up the mercenary squad right before the huge war hits. Everything from basic sword forms to actual high-tier aura training. The irony here was honestly pretty messed up. The same kid who brutally proved life was totally rigged was now the only person offering him a golden ticket nobody else ever would. Dale smoothly explains he just needs more people fighting on his side, and Jans just lucked out by being right here. For the mercenary, it honestly felt like all that worldly unfairness just vanished into thin air. Fast forward, and the sun is finally coming up over the massive Saxon estate. Down in the war room, the Duke demands a full situation update. A gigantic mountain range cuts the Demon King's turf off from the duchy, and their defenses are barely surviving. The frontline scout squad has started falling back from the 9th base with the Northern Lords, but before ditching the zone, they literally burned everything they could not pack. If they can just hold the line while retreating, the bad guys will hit the upper river completely drained. Then, the troops can totally wipe out the main horde. It is officially time to unleash the main army. The Duke orders the lords to get the memo and tells the troops to gear up to march out. Before the meeting wraps, Alan pulls Dale aside for a private chat. He is handing the elite strike squad entirely over to his kid, and once the bloodbath starts, Dale is running the show solo, but Safia is staying right by his side. This totally shocks him, since the Blue Tower usually never meddles in normal human wars. Alan points out the elf is basically their top advisor already. Plus, fighting off an army of crazy barbarians is way beyond your average worldly turf war. Sounding worried, Dale asks if his master actually wanted this. The Duke nods, adding that his kid already proved he is a beast during that black and white clash. He is definitely going to crush it now. Dale agrees but has one final request. Looking super stressed out, the Duke asks what he wants this time. The kid directly requests the ghost swordswoman to join his personal squad. Meanwhile, Charlotte locks on her heavy helmet, looking like someone completely ready for war. So what do we make of this? Dale is totally surprised by her swagger. She declares it is because she is the loyal guardian for the famous Dark Master. The young lord smiles, telling her she honestly looks like a true badass knight now, not just some little girl. Alright, stick with me here, we're jumping right back in. But something is totally bugging him. He remembers a knight's shady glare and makes his friend promise to survive, no matter what. Charlotte shoots back that risking her life is literally her job description. Dale asks if she wants to know a knight's real duty, then just answers it himself. Never break your lord's trust, and what he really wants, for her to stay alive because this brutal battlefield just isn't meant for her. Charlotte swears to keep those words close to her heart. Right after, the massive orc horde marches south, and the Duke's main army moves out. Dale rides out toward the upper Saxon River with Bale, Charlotte, his master Safia, and his personal knights. Glancing back, he takes in his whole allied squad. He realizes right then, Safia isn't just his teacher anymore. The moon is barely fading when they finally hit the upper Saxon River camp. Safia patrols the area. Dale catches up with her looking super serious and cuts right to the chase. He straight up asks why she agreed to his dad's crazy proposal. The elf replies she's just answering her life's calling, to always stay by his side. Our boy smiles and thanks her, but a loud crash ruins the moment. Dale screams for the mobile strike force to gear up for battle. The orcs are already at the camp, striking first before the troops can even blink. Bale runs over, practically sweating bullets. He begs the young lord to give the green light. The orcs are rushing the river. Dale orders Bale to take 4 battalions and launch a brutal frontal assault to stop them forming a bridge. He'll personally take the other 2 battalions and hit them from the back. Archers scream that monsters are incoming. Bale yells at his guys to keep every single beast off the shore. A crazy rain of arrows blasts the charging orcs. Dale's knights stick to the game plan. Sweating, the young lord prays Bale holds the line. Watch closely, because here is where it gets totally wild. 2 hooded creeps are hiding behind rocks, waiting for him. Meanwhile, archers are firing like maniacs. Having the high ground is huge. They're sniping with insane accuracy, hitting even the wolf riders. But one crazy wolf jumps right into the archer squad. It crushes a guy's shoulder with one massive bite. His scream echoes everywhere. Still, the orcs hit the bridge. The mission is crystal clear. Drag them out one by one. Do not let them pass. After that crazy long march, the enemy's rear guard has to be exhausted. Dale's genius plan: cross the shallow water upstream and backstab them, but Bale has to survive just a little longer. A soldier drops. A giant orc lifts his axe, glaring at the survivors. Then boom, a massive blast behind enemy lines. Dale made it to the drop zone. Bale doesn't miss a beat and orders the frontline charge. The enemy is trapped. Time for the young lord's cavalry to close the net. Absolutely zero mercy here. Dale charges up his shadow shot, blasting energy projectiles that completely wipe the orcs out. Seeing their boss lead the charge hypes the troops up. But Dale completely misses an orc sneaking up his blind spot. Bam! Charlotte blocks it before it can even swing. One clean slash drops the beast. She tells Dale to chill, she's got his back. Nearby, Sephia is going all out, pushing her own absolute limits. She yells that if they take too long, the orcs will regroup. Bale is swatting enemies away with his spear, but there are just too many. He shouts that the monsters are gearing up for a nasty counterattack. Dale instantly calls for a retreat. The cavalry bails from the wolf riders. They already did their job. A total wipeout isn't needed. The real big brain move is luring them away from reinforcements, then picking off the leftovers one by one. You and I both thought they had this in the bag, right? Well, Sephia notices something super sketchy. Hiding among the wolves is a horse rider. It's a hooded figure sparking pure fire magic. Sephia screams for Dale to run, charging her ice. She blasts it backward. A gigantic ice wall pops up, totally freezing the area, but the hooded dude is packing some serious firepower. The blazing attack slams right into the barricade. Fire and ice explode in a crazy magic showdown. The shield holds, then completely shatters. Flames melt the ice and totally vaporize a soldier. Poof, literally nothing left. Dale is absolutely stunned. That is definitely not normal fire. Everyone scatter. It's a purifier from the Red Magic Tower. A psycho pyromancer. Combat mages who literally exist just to burn the Empire's enemies alive. Sephia and Dale instantly figure it out. They are totally gunning for the young lord. Dale yells for everyone to stay moving and spread out. Sticking together against Red Tower mages is basic suicide, but if they split up too much, the orcs will totally eat them alive. There is literally zero good option, and Dale thinks he might need his secret power. But Sephia rides up, begging him to dismount so she can actually do her job as master. Dale stares at her, super heavy silence. Then he just stops his horse, totally shocking everyone on the battlefield. He grabs a soldier, ordering the cavalry to stick to the original plan. Charlotte needs to sprint and warn the Duke right now. The girl immediately fights him on it. Her whole job is protecting him. Dale doesn't budge. It is an order. Stop worrying and just go. Super annoyed, Charlotte nods and speeds off. Dale knows running is literally impossible right now. Sephia looks stunned. Was he really gonna bail? He says nope, no way. He'd never leave his master behind in a mess like this. She charges up her next crazy attack. Sephia totally gets what he's doing now, and thanks him for actually trusting her. Right then, a massive orc on a wolf lunges straight at them. Sephia channels crazy energy, whipping up massive ice crystals and blasting the enemy. A terrifying howl rings out as the monsters freeze solid. The orcs are instantly turned into literal ice sculptures. Even the guys backing them up are totally blocked off. Dale hypes her up. She's a blue elder, a sixth circle mage. And trust me, you and I are gonna love what happens next. Alright, you and I are diving into pure madness today. He demands answers from the Red Magic Tower, but they just call him fuel. Boom, a fireball flies straight at him, but Sephia steps up, throwing down blue dissonance to protect her student. This crazy spell just eats other magic. The energy completely vanishes. Seeing the opening, Dale hypes up his Saxon knights to charge. Enemy attacks, cancelled. He yells at them to raise lances and push. The squad totally listens, bulldozing right through the monster waves. Watching this bloodbath from afar, the Duke drops some heavy facts. These kids are facing something way worse than your average battle. It is straight-up chaos, pure fear, and the absolute abyss. He tells them to stop sweating about winning or losing. Let the chaos fuel you. Keep the fear, just do not let it win. Alan tells his Saxon mages to remember this exact slaughter. He looks at Eris, and she bows. The Duke says it is officially time to send these kids to the crossing point. Eris totally agrees. Suddenly, Charlotte bursts onto the scene, looking incredibly stressed out. She rips off her helmet, skipping the small talk to yell that the young lord is in trouble. Horses instantly sprint forward. Now watch closely, because this is where it gets wild for us. A pyromancer charges his arm and blasts the knights. Dale and Sephia react instantly, blocking with their magic. Fire, water, and ice smash together, forming a massive wall that stops the cavalry. Dale claps back using frozen chunks of that barrier. Enter Shadow Magnum. He rapid fires these ice bullets at the hoods. One hit equals instant death, but these guys came totally prepared. They pop a fire aura that just melts his shots, and Dale is sweating. That flame armor is insane, it even blocked Sephia earlier. A lancer rushes in, screaming that the fire mage is finished, but the hoods just charge up again. Brutal counterattack. The lancer's weapons literally burst into flames inside them. Now the purifiers are marching straight for Sephia. Dale jumps in front, blasting dark energy shots with perfect aim. One hood drops, and Dale uses the chance to demand some answers. What is their goal? Why attack them? The guy just smirks, claiming the entire world is about to burn. Right as he talks, his body morphs. He says they will rise from the ashes. Dale instantly gets the terrible twist. This dude is literally a walking bomb. That armor is not for defense, it is built to toast the user alive. He screams at Sephia to fall back. The enemy yells that it is too late. Boom, a massive bomb-level explosion hits. Total destruction everywhere. When the smoke clears, Sephia is on the ground next to Dale. He struggles up, his master actually survived. That ice wall saved them from the worst. Even the elite knight Raven Knights got totally flattened by the shockwave. Then another pyromancer rolls up. He sees the young lord is somehow standing and dashes right at him. His flaming hand closes in fast. Even so, Dale flexes his remaining strength and lunges. With one super clean sword slice, he cuts him down. I know what you're thinking, another explosion. Nope. Dale backs up fast and finishes him completely. That is 2 down. Dale soaked up all that damage just waiting for an opening. Flashbacks hit him, the endless torture, the pain, the crazy body mods. He glares at the next guy with pure killer intent. Do not even try running. Time for some absolute payback for his suffering. Sephia finally drags herself up. The battlefield is just echoing with screams of pure agony. Amidst this nightmare, Dale solos the pyromancers. Zero hesitation, the kid rushes an enemy. The guy goes full supernova, blowing up and turning the remaining knights to ash. These loyal guards get completely shredded in a firestorm, while the crazy fire mages just laugh like it is a hilarious joke. But honestly, the real demon on that field was Dale. The enemies finally noticed. Their suicide tactics are not working. They scream to jump him all at once. One wounded hood just collapses in pain. Another rushes our boy and catches a fatal strike. It is like all his bottled-up rage just exploded right in that spot. Every single swing, Dale weaponized his trauma. The pyromancers tried swinging back, bursting into flames, but did 0 damage. The survivors are just staring in absolute shock. To them, this kid was not just an enemy, he was vengeance walking. Dale casually walks up and totally crushes their vibe. Mission failed, you guys can never kill me. One fiery dude snaps back. You think you won after seeing all this absolute carnage. Even with their dark tower wrecked, these guys gave 0 flips. He brags they were all ready to die, happily sacrificing their own bodies. That crazy dedication actually startles Dale. He is dealing with a literal kamikaze. The guy charges and erupts into flames. Another massive boom right in his face, but when the smoke clears, Dale is standing, totally flawless. Surprise, that purifier somehow survived his own explosion too. Suddenly, a total boss on horseback rolls up, oozing absolute authority. It is the Duke, the Black Lord, stepping in for his son. He coldly states that dying is actually the easy way out. So what do you and I take from his epic flex? Living takes way more guts than dying. Trust me, this just got real. Alright, strap in, because you and I are jumping right into absolute chaos. The enemies charge, screaming nonsense. Boom, a massive explosion hits, but the pyromancer steps out completely untouched. The Duke just glares at him with absolute ice. Does he still not get it? Alan literally never gave this guy permission to die. Dying on their own terms, not an option here. He summons this insane, glowing purple curse right in his palm, blasting it straight at the leftover purifiers. It gets gnarly fast. Their bodies literally start melting away. Piece by piece, they just dissolve, getting completely wiped off the battlefield. In their place, pure nightmare fuel. A grotesque mass of twisted eyes, mouths, and teeth rises before the Duke. Alan doesn't even blink. He straight up tells them that living is way worse than dying. He doesn't even care why they teamed up with the orcs or targeted his kid. They threw their lives away, so here is the ultimate payback. Their sentence: living out eternity trapped in that disgusting, monstrous body. Meanwhile, a wounded soldier calls out to the young lord. Barely breathing, he practically begs to finish his duty as a Night Crow Knight. Dale walks over, gently lifting the dying warrior with total respect. He accepts the knight's final wish, promising the Saxon house will never forget him. The guy's arm drops. Just like that, he quietly slips away. The Duke walks up. He points out their heavy losses, but Dale makes zero excuses. His dad asks, is he blaming himself? Dale totally is. He admits he led the Saxon knights right to their graves and should have retreated immediately. The Duke calmly tells him not to carry that guilt alone. The original plan: take on dozens of heavy-hitting orc knights and purifiers totally solo, with just Sephi watching his back. Honestly, the kid did his best. Dale drops his head, completely unable to accept this bitter win. The fallen Saxon knights literally ask to keep fighting from beyond the grave, which means this crazy battle is nowhere near over. The dead soldier suddenly stands up. Dale begs the Duke to let his crew finish their mission. Meanwhile, miles away from this chaos. Stick with me, things get weird here. At the famous Red Magic Tower, a red-haired guy chills with a blonde girl inside Marquis Yuri's personal bedroom. Smiling softly, he asks if she slept well. She completely swoons, saying she had great dreams and honestly feels like she is still in one. Being alone with the Empire's most gorgeous guy is a huge flex. Teasing him, she asks if he really thinks he is that charming. He smoothly tells her to find out. They lean in for a heavy kiss, but suddenly something feels totally off. Drops of a dark red liquid start hitting the floor. A gross, metallic taste fills her mouth. She panics, realizing exactly what it is, but his hand is already gripping her face. He stares with cynical, dead eyes. Holding her chin, he creepily asks if the drink hits the spot. Suddenly, the sun begins to rise. Back at the battlefield, smoke is still pouring everywhere. One absolute tank of an orc is still thrashing the knights. Helmet takes the spotlight, dodging and blocking these massive hits with his giant sword. This enemy is definitely not your average foot soldier. It is the orc war chief, the boss. Dale immediately yells for Helmet to fall back, claiming that crushing these orcs is his personal job. Dale charges right in with his troops. One knight sprints straight for the big boss. Helmet just watches, totally blown away. You saw that right. That insane coordination only happens with a god-tier necromancer. The undead push forward with absolute robotic perfection, backing the orc down efficiently. But then, the beast's eyes light up. It drops a deafening scream, releasing shockwaves that crush the nearby soldiers. Helmet screams for an instant retreat. This monster is way out of their league, but Dale totally ignores the warning, marching straight into danger. He knows his raw power is lacking. To win this, he has to get way darker. Right then, the creepy little spirit girl tied to his abilities, the entity from the Goat Book, casually offers to help. Dale shoots her down. It is not her time yet, and flashing that kind of broken power publicly is way too risky. She just hugs him super tight, promising she'd never upset her master. Her only condition: that he comes and plays with her whenever he wants. Dale's dark energy spikes, crawling toward the orc. A sinister shadow erupts beneath him, yet the fearless war chief charges right ahead, weapons fully raised. Dale triggers Shadow Stalker. Boom! A massive strike lands right between the beast's eyes. Shadows blast from the earth, impaling the orc instantly. The massive leader finally drops dead. With this epic win, Dale earns a legendary new title. The guy who crushed the orc invasion leader. He is now the feared Black Prince, and with that, our scene shifts. Back at the Black Magic Tower, the Duke asks Eris if they got answers out of those captured purifiers. Honestly, she came up completely empty. They ripped through their minds for 3 straight days and nights. But get this, their brains were practically wiped. Someone definitely used heavy memory erasure magic. It is super obvious these guys were rigged to be caught. Plus, they somehow knew Dale was going to split off with the cavalry from the very start. Eris asks if Alan has suspects. he simply replies that they must be absolute monsters. Shocked, she asks if the hardcore Black Tower elders are secretly teaming up with the Crimson Tower. Alan breaks it down. Back in the Unification War, there was a secret Black Ops squad mixing mages from both towers for crazy experiments. After the war, boom, group shut down, all records completely torched. Following the Black Duke's orders, the tower chose to bury that dark history and completely move on from it. Still, some fanatics kept chasing that forbidden knowledge. The deadly winds of purgatory might be returning. The Duke nods, knowing this theory is highly likely. Trust me, this hits hard. Later, Dale visits the Black Duke's underground workshop, honoring the fallen knights who trusted and followed him to the very end. His soldiers stuck by his side even after kicking the bucket. As their boss, Dale totally feels the heavy weight of their sacrifice. So, he asks his dad how raising the undead actually works. The Duke sees his kid's wild potential, but throws a major question back. Can Dale dodge the total darkness that even his dad couldn't escape? The Duke drops a bomb. Once Dale levels up and beats him, that entire spooky army becomes his property. Dale gets the memo instantly. To become the big boss, he has to completely wreck the strongest dark mage on the continent, his own dad. Zero hesitation. The kid demands a one-on-one duel right on the spot. The Duke smirks and agrees to hear him out. Dale just wants one thing, for his dad to go all out. The Duke accepts, telling the kid to bring it. Dale instantly summons two massive Black Knights for backup. The Duke watches the magic. Pretty cool stuff, but he still dodges those heavy attacks like it is absolutely nothing. Watch closely right here. Dale combos his attacks and drops Shadow Stalker so his dad can't dodge. The blades rush his face, but then something absolutely wild goes down. The knights just freeze. The Duke chills out and explains that when two dark mages throw down, losing your shadow pets is super dangerous. Dale's eyes pop at his dad's insane power level, then it hits him. Darkness always rushes to the thickest source. No other option left. He hyperfocuses his brain just like before, and boom, the knights are back in action. Bam, a knight lands a clean shot. The dad's head literally rolls across the floor. Dale totally freezes, completely shocked by the insane sight. But the Duke casually praises the kid for snatching back his shadows. Then, his severed head floats right back to his neck. Dale just stares, completely mind blown, while his dad explains he literally banned his own death. That is what happens when you can hack reality itself. Magic is just making imagination real, and at the absolute top tier, you can bend the actual rules of the world. Just like when he deleted that explosive power earlier. Dale finally gets the harsh truth. He never stood a chance of winning this crazy duel. Morning hits nice and quiet. Right after those barbarian fights, an Imperial messenger rolls up, obviously sent to keep a close eye on House Saxon. The delivery guy announces the Emperor is super hyped about their family's loyalty. Plus, he drops a massive shout-out to our boy, the Black Prince. Even though he is super young, the kid already has hardcore street cred all across the royal court. Their reward, a fancy invite to link the Black and Red Towers together. Dale is getting shipped off to the Red Towers Academy in the capital city. Alan doesn't even try hiding his stress. Sending the kid to the big city right now screams major danger. Still, our guy is totally down to walk into an obvious trap. He explains the Marquis's son is coming to stay at their tower too, like a trade. Basically, both crews are taking each other's heirs hostage, so neither side can pull any crazy stunts without risking it all. You and I both know this sounds sketchy, and his dad agrees. The Duke asks if Dale totally forgot that brutal attack from the Purifier. To the Empire, he is not just a hazard anymore. He is way too valuable of an asset to just toss out. Dad fires back, asking about the recent ambush. The kid casually argues the Red Tower was probably just testing out his combat skills. The Marquis was probably just curious to check his stats. If they actually wanted him dead, they would have sent way more goons. The Duke straight up asks the real point of this trip. Dale says he just wants to scope out the Empire himself. Plus, since the Red Tower started throwing shade, returning the favor is only fair. Alan just drops his head, totally stressed. He gets the logic and knows the kid is right. But he drops one last warning: in the capital, everyone will just treat him like a helpless child. Dale promises to stay sharp. Hand on his heart, he swears he will go all out for his dad and the whole Saxon squad. Meanwhile, over at the Red Magic Tower, someone is getting seriously hyped. A red-haired dude brags about how pumped he is for this meetup. To him, being young means curiosity crushes fear. Oh, and right beside him, a blonde girl who is already completely lifeless. Yikes. He stares at her, joking that she never thought about life and just rotted away. Still, he admits her red fluid looked absolutely top tier. Getting all poetic, he claims a quick game over is actually a blessing, like a flower that pops off before gracefully hitting the dirt. Living forever, though, super empty and pointless. He crushes a glass bare-handed, calling that kind of immortal life a weed that just refuses to bloom. Staring at the sky, he promises Dale is getting the VIP treatment. Why? Because he thinks our boy is the only one who can cure his boredom. Fast forward, Dale is rolling in a carriage with Bale and Seffi. Along the ride, Dale gets super restless with the road trip, while Bale just quietly watches. Seeing his terrifying true form really messed up her ability to chat normally. That crazy image is locked in her brain, and nothing makes it less scary. The poor elf is sweating bullets right now. The crew finally hits the red tower. Geared-up guards wait outside. Dale hops out like a boss while an announcer hypes up the Saxon young master's grand arrival. They pull up to the Imperial Academy next door. That same red-haired dude walks over, rocking a sneaky smile. Turns out it is Marquis Julius. He drops a fancy bow, claiming the whole squad has been waiting for Dale. Dale plays it cool. Julius hypes him up for picking battles over books. And that's where we leave it. Trust me, this capital arc is gonna be pure fire. Trust me, word of his insane deeds is already hyping up the whole empire. But Dale, stone cold, completely brushing off all the praise. Let's dive right in. This guy, he allied with barbarians and burned the Black Crow Knights to dust right in front of him. Still, Dale bites his tongue. Ulis keeps talking, admitting that every time he hears wild rumors about the Black Prince's insane power. He is totally blown away. Dale just shrugs, claiming stories get blown out of proportion, but the Marquis insists this crazy talent is exactly what the Academy wants. He sticks his hand out for a handshake, but Dale totally ignores him and walks right past. Instead, he puts a hand over his heart, bowing politely to the Emperor's crew. The guys behind Ulis chuckle, noting the kid's flawless manners. Deep down, though, Dale is furious. He knows he has to play the long game for House Saxon. Soon enough, he will make that dude beg on his knees. Ulis watches him, totally intrigued. There is something wild about the silent, burning rage hiding right there in the kid's eyes. Next scene, the red magic tower stands tall and intimidating. Meanwhile, inside, a professor is lecturing a packed classroom. Today's topic: fire and water magic, literally polar opposites. But honestly, nobody cares about the lesson. The students are entirely focused on whispering about one massive thing. The Black Prince sitting right there. Everyone is still shocked this 11-year-old boy somehow reached the third cycle of magic. Marquis Ulis threw him straight into the highest level class. It has been weeks now, and the big graduation exam is right around the corner. Graduating and joining the Crimson Tower is basically a VIP ticket to success for Imperial nobles. So yeah, obviously these rich kids hate having an outsider crash their party. So far, it has been quiet, but Dale knows the Marquis did not bring him here just to take notes like a nerd. Out of nowhere, a hand shoots up. It is a blonde guy, leaning back in his chair with zero respect for anyone. Meet Leonard. He whines that the lesson is putting him to sleep. The professor looks nervous, apologizes, and asks what his rich student wants to do instead. Watch closely here, because Leonard decides to stir the pot. He demands they do something fun, since a rare Black Tower genius is visiting. He wants the Black Prince in a live magic duel. See, this academy basically runs like its own miniature kingdom. Bloodlines and power levels dictate everything. Dale easily guesses this loudmouth is the direct heir to Walter, the guy running the Red Tower. Leonard keeps yapping about Dale's hyped reputation. The kid who cleared the 20th floor of the Trial Tower, commanding the epic battle of black and white magic, like an absolute genius. And that is exactly why Leonard wants to test him. Hearing this, Dale just lets out a tiny smirk. Cool as ice, Dale says rumors always get exaggerated by weak people. Leonard snaps back that tough talk is cheap. He wants to see some real hands thrown. Smiling like he has already won, Dale accepts. Moments later, they are squaring up. The professor starts sweating, asking Dale if he actually knows the strict rules for magical sparring. For a kid from the harsh northern frontier, All these rules feel like overkill. But hey, they are inside an elite imperial classroom. Dale looks at the teacher and casually suggests using life protection collars. He points out that fighting without safety gear is dumb. If someone accidentally drops dead, someone else is going to take the blame. Plus, he drops a cold hint that sometimes magic is used strictly to kill. That comment makes the poor professor visibly shake in his boots. Panicking, the guy tries to cancel the whole duel unless they use safety gear. But Leonard aggressively grabs his collar, barking that he does not need gadgets to crush a brat. He violently shoves the teacher aside, telling him to shut up. Dale just mocks him, asking if he plans on standing around talking all day long. Then Leonard makes a high-stakes bet. If Dale loses, he gets expelled from class. If Leonard gets beat, he drops out of the final graduation exam. Dale is already summoning his 6 shadow swords. He thinks for 2 seconds, smiles, and accepts the deal. Leonard starts charging up. A massive blast of roaring fire forms in his hands, whipping through the air like an angry, twisting serpent made of pure heat. They both dash forward instantly. The fight is absolute chaos from the very first second. They are trading heavy hits with zero hesitation. And magic shockwaves are blowing up everywhere. The other students watch in total shock, getting pushed back by the insane wind pressure. Honestly, they can barely track the movements. Dale's eyes widen slightly. This blonde kid is no joke. Moving super fast, Dale counters right into the blazing fire stream. Leonard jumps back to plan his next move, while Dale readies his sword for the finisher. Now, you and I know things never go smoothly. Boom, an explosion blasts right in Dale's face. He gets tagged, his shirt catching fire. Stumbling back, he looks around trying to process the cheap shot. And realizes some random student totally jumped into the fight. Dale glares at Leonard, asking if 2-on-1 is standard academy rules. The blonde just laughs, playing dumb about the whole thing. He claims everyone here is just sick of Dale showing off. Then he shoots a deadly glare at the professor, threatening his career if he dares to snitch. If Leonard's daddy finds out about this jumping, the teacher is getting fired instantly. Turning his smug face back to Dale, Leonard asks if he is ready to surrender. Instead of throwing hands, Dale completely drops his guard and lowers his arms. He casually suggests calling it a draw to save face. Leonard obviously rejects it, so Dale just tells the arrogant brat to take a look around. Suddenly, the classroom vanishes entirely. It is replaced by a terrifying, pitch-black forest under a dead night sky. The students start panicking instantly. All their mana is just gone. Flashing a villainous smile, Dale calls them pathetic. He brutally mocks Leonard, asking what kind of trash fire mage loses his flames so fast. So what do we make of this? Dale owns this dimension now, and poor Leonard cannot even spark a tiny lighter here. Dale casually lifts his hand, blasting dark energy at the terrified students like swatting annoying flies. The pure darkness morphs into massive, creeping shadow tentacles that... Let's jump right into the madness. Within seconds, those tentacles snatch every single student into the air. Dale calls game over on this entire circus. The professor totally panics, screaming for mercy and promising to cover up absolutely anything. Just please spare Leonard. That tentacle loosens up a bit around the rich kid. Ice cold, Dale admits he never actually planned a massacre. But his warning is clear. Next time, Leonard better bet his own life. Cut to later. Nighttime hits the city. The moon is out, and you can hear people laughing in the distance. Meanwhile, that poor professor is getting absolutely wrecked. Leonard goes full psycho on him. Kicks, punches, unfiltered rage. How dare this nobody speak for House Walter and completely humiliate him like that? Begging for his life, the professor grovels right at his feet. Leonard just kicks him again, calling him useless trash and demanding silence. Bystanders are actually chuckling at this mess. Leonard, completely snapping under the pressure, screams at everyone to leave. With pure venom in his eyes, he orders them to drag the professor away. He needs to be totally alone. A girl whispers nearby that maybe this rich brat isn't so tough after all. His temper is out of control. And without his fancy family name, he is absolutely nothing. Left alone, Leonard grabs a drink, hand shaking like crazy. He knows the graduation exam is officially ruined. That reality hits so hard he literally shatters his glass. Blood drips, but he only feels pure, blinding rage. Suddenly, someone else is there. A voice mocks his little temper tantrum. Leonard spins around, demanding to know who snuck in. Watch closely here, guys. The red-haired guy calls his tantrum totally pathetic. Yep, the Crimson Lord just entered the chat. Recognizing him instantly, Leonard starts sweating and stammers out a question. The guy casually replies that today was a massive disappointment. Looking down, Leonard asks if he just came to make fun of him. The Lord scoffs. He would have left hours ago if that were true. Nope, he actually sees potential. He tosses the kid a creepy artifact with a glowing red stone. Use the right way. It completely wipes away today's humiliation, but everything has a price tag. Confused, Leonard asks why him. The Lord basically says letting good talent quit would be a massive waste. But there is a catch, not everybody can handle it. Try it without being ready, and you burn to a crisp instantly. With a sinister glare, the Crimson Lord says surviving this means an epic comeback. Fail and it just fast-tracks your funeral. The choice is entirely up to him. Choice, yeah, right. Leonard remembers his dream of reaching the absolute peak. Without a second thought, he takes the deal. Meanwhile, across campus, one dorm room is still lit. Inside, Dale is grinding in silence, hyper-focused on his aura. He realizes Yuli's definitely didn't bring him here to babysit these rich kids. These academy scrubs are an absolute joke compared to his past enemies. The Marquis has a way bigger endgame. A knock interrupts him. Hearing Sephia's voice, Dale rushes over to unlock the door. Seeing her bright smile, he happily invites his master inside. Fast forward a bit, and the quiet room feels pretty awkward. Trying to kill the tension, Dale thanks her for coming to the capital with him. She gives him this sweet smile, looking proudly at her student, and asks about classes. He admits they totally pale in comparison to her lessons, turning a tiny bit red in the face. The mage brings up his bitter face from the day he lost his knights. She apologizes, but a shocked Dale begs her not to take the blame. He insists she's been protecting him since day one. Losing the swordsman was completely his own fault. Sephia just gently grabs his hand, shaking her head. Smiling warmly, she reminds him of her promise. Being by his side wasn't just about playing bodyguard, it meant making sure he never feels this heartbroken. The elf pulls him into a huge hug. She admits she doesn't get why a kid has such hollow, traumatized eyes, but honestly, it doesn't matter at all. She's staying with him forever. Dale hugs her back, whispering a soft thank you. We both knew this peace couldn't last, right? A few days fly by. Back at the Magic Tower, the final exams trigger an insane duel. It's Dale versus Valher. Out of nowhere, Leonard crashes the party looking incredibly salty. The professor steps up, warning him that class is already in session. And any more stupid drama means he won't be able to protect him this time. Leonard practically spits, asking when the guy was ever actually useful, and just shoves past him. Igniting his fire magic, Blondie announces he's ending this. He demands an instant duel to prove who the Empire's top prodigy really is. Before anyone can even blink, the battle just straight up explodes. Massive explosions rock the entire room. Leonard rushes in like a maniac, spamming attacks without stopping. He whips his fire chain everywhere, raining down pure destruction. But Dale just casually dodges everything. Annoyed, Leonard yells, asking where all that cocky energy went. So far, Dale is just dodging. Mid-swing, Leonard flexes that he's finally unlocking this crazy power level. And he's about to break past every single limit. He's the real genius here. He's literally using a forbidden technique called overclock. Forcing his magic circle into absolute overdrive. That ruby bracelet is pumping insane mana into his veins, and he totally hit it just to secure this win. But here's the massive flaw. His squishy body can't handle those specs. One slip up, and his own raw energy will literally vaporize him. Still, he screams at Dale, promising total agony. So, what do you and I think? Is this artifact enough, or is he about to get completely wrecked? Alright, stick with me, we're jumping straight into this crazy fight. The fire chain crashes down, but our boy blocks it, totally terrifying the surrounding students. The panicked teacher instantly orders everyone to evacuate, while the intense battle rages on. Dale dodges, but takes a tiny scrape to the face. Seeing this, Leonard gets cocky, complaining his rival is just running away instead of actually fighting. He demands to know why Dale won't use that mental world he flexes so much. Dale just calmly says he doesn't need it. Adjusting his grip, he lands a flawless strike, slicing the fire chain right in half. Leonard is absolutely stunned seeing his weapon trashed. Dale tells him there's still time to surrender. He warns the blonde to toss the artifact, because that unbearable pain might just destroy his body before he ever gets a win. There is literally no point pushing past your limits if there's no coming back. Super annoyed, Leonard screams at him to shut up. He says Dale can't dictate his limits, claiming he's got nothing left to lose and is about to go all out. After all, he is Leonard Walter, the Empire's absolute greatest genius. Flames erupt everywhere, consuming the whole room. The blonde bursts into maniacal laughter, completely losing it, bragging that he finally reached the fourth circle. Now watch closely, this gets wild. He claims this fiery world is his, and inside it Dale is totally dead. Leonard's mental world actually manifests, forced open by the artifact, but something is off. It's glitchy and distorted, showing his mind is breaking. Memories of his dad pop up, calling him a total failure to the Walter family name. Those heavy emotions literally bleed into reality. This place doesn't show epic power, just pure sadness. He's literally just a broken kid, but Dale stays ice cold. He casually offers to show Leonard what a real mental world actually looks like. Pitch black energy surges. He asks if the blonde can handle a lifetime of swallowed rage and emptiness. Without holding back, he blasts Leonard with terrifying, pitch black power. Leonard's angry face instantly turns into pure horror. Brutal, messed up memories from Dale's past life flash right before his eyes. The visions are so heavy the blonde completely collapses, totally paralyzed. Dale walks up and asks, "Isn't this what you wanted?" He calls it the ultimate price for his talent, sinisterly asking if Leonard is ready to pay up. Soon after, they head back. The blonde starts pathetically apologizing for underestimating Dale. Right then, the shaken teacher runs in. Seeing Leonard groveling on his knees is seriously unbelievable. Dale tells them to get the guy to a hospital. His mind is totally, completely broken. And just like that, the academy drama ends. Leonard takes a leave of absence for personal reasons. Rumors spread super fast. Everyone says the kid went completely insane. Meanwhile, a massive storm is brewing elsewhere. Someone is screaming about the Walter bloodline. A guy clenches his fist, furious over how this disaster happened. Sitting on his throne, he curses Dale and his family. This is Walter, elder of the Sixth Circle Magic Tower and the actual count. Suddenly, Ulysse walks right up. In a super calm voice, he says it must suck being humiliated like this. He totally understands why Walter lost his cool and aimed all that crazy hostility right at the Saxon kid. Walter instantly denies it, sweating and swearing he doesn't have any beef with the Saxon heir. He begs Ulysse not to misunderstand, but Ulysse just smiles, holding an artifact, saying he's only here to help him get revenge. Back at the academy, it's a beautiful day. Students gossip about the late teacher. Dale realizes Leonard was way weaker than expected. You and I both know Ulysse isn't going to just let this slide. Suddenly, the door flies wide open. It's literally Ulysse. He announces he's the new substitute teacher. Dale is super shocked, already trying to figure out this guy's shady plan. Ulysse dives right into academy history. He mentions how everyone had massive expectations for Leonard. And because of that hype, people just blindly bowed down to his fake reputation instead of real talent. The redhead mentions the insane rumors. But he roasts them, saying if they got intimidated by a talentless hack, they really need to step up their game. Because now, they belong to him. Moving right along, he announces today's lesson is going to be history. Dale is totally caught off guard by this. Ulysse explains the Empire's unification war was full of nasty, justified kills. Back then, the Black and Red Towers secretly teamed up under the fake excuse of academic research. It was a sketchy partnership to keep the peace. They called it Executor PNV. Dale instantly panics. Why is this top secret history coming out right now? Ulysse drops a bomb. Behind all that justice talk, they experimented on prisoners. People burned alive, chopped up, and stitched back together on repeat. To them, basic human morals were just totally useless jokes. The whole class is absolutely terrified, totally unable to believe it. Ulysse actually looks disappointed. He says future Red Tower mages shouldn't cry over basic ethics. They should be super proud of it. Still, everyone is completely freaked out. Then he locks eyes with Dale. He asks if he's feeling uncomfortable too. Would he choose morals over pure logic? He adds that the Black Duke, Alan, was exactly the same in the past. Dale already knows. Alan actually wiped all the records to stop the experiments. And trust me, We are unpacking this crazy secret next time. Let's dive right in, guys. Yuli straight up admits Dale's Black Master energy is completely off the charts, way beyond anyone else in the room. He says the kid's talent is just built differently, strong enough to make him superhuman. One day, he's totally going to conquer the Black Tower. Reaching his hand out, he pitches an insane idea. He wants Dale to hunt for the ultimate truth together, teaming up the black and the red. Dale gets it instantly. This redhead wants his talent to revive the executor. He stands up, acting polite, saying he appreciates it but big choices need proper order. Since his dad is still alive and kicking, making massive future plans behind his back is a total no-go. But Yuli's literally just snaps his fingers to brush that off, and the whole room completely shapeshifts. Watch closely, because this gets wild. The room vanishes into a creepy dark space, and Dale stares as what looks like snow starts falling everywhere. But looking closer, yeah, that is not snow, it's pure ash floating through the air, and crazy enough, Dale actually recognizes this exact vibe. As old memories hit him, Yuli steps up, asking if this world isn't absolutely epic. Turns out, Dale is the only one seeing this vision. The other students are clueless. Yuli's flexes this insane landscape, bragging about massive steel towers that nobody could ever rebuild anywhere else. He hypes up iron black dragons dominating the sky, dropping unimaginable fire. Then, out of nowhere, something completely rips through the clouds. A literal aircraft shows up and drops a straight-up missile on their heads. Boom! A second later, a massive explosion just eats the entire area. Looking ridiculously happy, Yuli's tells Dale to soak in this crazy empire of fire and steel, strong enough to absolutely crush titans. He calls this the absolute peak that all mages are desperate for. Dale asks if he summoned an otherworldly hero to chase that power. Yuli smirks, saying close guess. That summoned guy was an okay soldier, but completely failed to understand how insanely huge this power really was. You feel the irony here, right? Dale just laughs. In his head, he knows this redhead is completely clueless because Dale already owns this power. Staring right at him, Yuli's claims that is exactly why they're here. Dale double-checks. Does he want this crazy power by teaming up black and red? He doesn't even blink before confirming. He tells Dale to take all the time he needs to decide, since honestly, time means literally nothing to him anyway. The redhead gets ready to wrap up their little chat, but drops one last major detail. Turns out, the main boss of House Walter is absolutely furious about his son getting humbled. Plus, Walter led the old executor squad, and the Emperor really wants those dark secrets kept buried. Yuli's plays it cool, saying this is just business. Even if Dale says no and ends up throwing down with the entire House Walter. He can still walk away totally fine. But if Dale chooses to wipe them out, Yuli's promises a massively epic reward waiting for him. Flashing a shady smile, he calls class dismissed. One finger snap, and the fake world completely melts away. Just like that, everything is back to normal. They're standing in the classroom like nothing even happened. As he leaves, Yuli says he cannot wait to meet again, betting Dale's actions will do the talking. Later that night, out by the Black Duke's massive estate, Dale is doing some solo training. Eyes shut tight, he is hyper-focused on leveling up his aura, while that ashy city vision keeps looping in his head. Dropping that otherworldly hero line was definitely a low-key threat. Say no, and he is next. But Dale absolutely refuses to let anyone play him ever again. Boom, a massive crash completely shatters his focus. An explosion literally rocks the roof of the house, so he throws on his cloak fast. Company is definitely here. Cephia sprints over, yelling his name in a panic as another explosion blasts through the entire building. Out of the smoke, Walter steps up. He glares at Dale, smirking that he expected the kid to run, but is pumped to catch him here. So where does this leave us? Walter coldly demands how Dale dared to wreck his son's life, and now, it's time to pay the absolute price.